Hey, welcome back. We're here to do it once again.
It's popping.
We got a lot happening today. But I think I want to go over a couple of details. First details, I got to tell Josh, you got to be quiet when I get started because I can't talk over his whispering. That just bothers my focus, you understand? Two, I want to announce that I think we only have seat for one more person for the retreat maximum. I think we already might be at the maximum level. We kind of shrunk the space, and we were hoping to stay under 20. And I think we had 19 people, including the help staff. And so we don't want to go past that number. But I think one is the maximum we can add to the list. So with that being said, the retreat is moving forward. It's going to be a powerful retreat this year. A few less people so we can have deeper dives. We're going to really work on self. We're going to work on self and hopefully have a little time to work on some solutions or helping you rethink how to approach some solutions. So I'm excited about that. Also tonight we'll try a new format. If you're online and you have questions you want asked in class, direct your questions to Shabisha or Tone Vic. Tone Vic is going to be engaging us, and he's going to be able to interrupt us at any point during class.
Oh my God.
So the motivator for this is that sometimes when you're practicing something the benefit of this class is that entrepreneurs are teaching. It's not a class where we just into the self-help model and then we're presenters who happen to teach so-called entrepreneur principles, because it really isn't. But we're entrepreneurs who are actually in the fight, in the struggle, made it through COVID, business is expanding again, things are picking back up. And so you guys are hearing it from people with skin in the game, and that's kind of rare in this industry. Most of the people who teach entrepreneurial ideas don't have skin in the game of being entrepreneurs. That's why a lot of ideas that we present seem so eccentric, because we're not practicing motivating you to get your money, but we're trying to get you in the game to impact our community. So, because at the end of the day, the deep down heart desire is as we produce more and more leaders in our community, we address and solve these problems. So with that being said, Tone Vic will be allowed to interrupt, but the reason he's interrupting is because, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but I had a chance to watch the end of the month group discussion, and I didn't get the chance to watch it. I got a chance to get a download, and in my download, what I received was a lot of people wasn't able to process radical responsibility, and although we spent maybe 30 minutes explaining it, I realized that sometimes when you introduce a new idea, often we have shields and walls, we're unaware of these walls we have up. And so by the time it gets to the cracks and crevices of your walls, it turns into something else. So we're going to take time to really tap into that again this evening. But before we get into some of that, the okey doke, for the residential pastor, we have something special planned today. And I think we could take it from here.
I'm singing happy birthday to you. 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 You look good, you look fine. I hope you have a good time. I'm singing happy birthday to you. I'm singing happy happy birthday to you.
Oh my God.
That's your own very own peach cobbler.
Oh my.
That's from Shakir, handmade from scratch. And Shakir family is known for their peach cobbler. We have a big peach cobbler in the back, so for those of you who couldn't show up to class,
Thank you so much.
this is for you to take
Yes,
home.
please.
We have a big one that we all can share, so we'll all be able to eat some peach cobbler tonight and taste why Shakir family is so famous for the peach cobbler.
Thank
and
you,
when I say
Shakira.
famous, bruh, it's gonna mess up your peach cobbler game because once you have this peach cobbler, you'll go other places and say, when Shakira make another peach cobbler? It's done she does such a perfect balance between peaches, crust, and dough. It's cold, and the sweetness is just
Thank you, bro.
Hey, Shabisha, tell her,
Thank you.
is her peach cobbler cold? Is it peach cobbler cold?
If that wasn't here, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to be one of those prime members who take the peach cobbler.
Thank y'all.
Bless her heart. Bless her heart. Bless her heart. Right on, man. Happy birthday, bruh. We love you, bruh. You know what I'm saying?
you.
Look here. Thank God that you was born, bruh. Thank God you were born. So as soon as I get Marquita back, we're going to jump into something that is important. So let me go over this real quick. Marquita, I may need you up front for this next piece. So real quick, I'm going to play a video for you guys. In-house, you'll be able to hear it as well as externally, you should be, and online, you'll be able to hear this video as well. Before you play the video, make sure you mute the microphone so there's not an echo. But wait, just 1 second. I want you guys to pay attention. This is a 5-minute video. I'm gonna play this 5-minute video, and I want you to pay attention to what's being said. For those of you coming on late, please focus in. Please listen. Now, when people come on later, just to remind them to go back and listen to the beginning of the video, because this is a critical section of the class. Let's just hold on one quick second. Once the video, because I want you guys in-house to hear the video. So let's just pause it. When the video's over, you can start passing out sweets and all that stuff. But right now, I want everybody attention, because here's the thing. You know what I realized? Because I study a lot, there's 2 ways to study it. A mindset around studying. There's one to deep dive into the information, and there's one to study for inspiration. I think a lot of people in this class listen to this class and listen to audiobooks, and they're inspired, but they miss so many of the lessons, right? Or even they listen to class, let's say if we give you an aha moment, you won't stop yourself and dig into like different sources and dive deeper so you can own it for yourself. But you'll literally surrender your destiny to us. We've been saying since day one, we're a conduit, but we're not your gods. When we say conduit, is we're in the game playing all the time. We're giving you a lot of the foundation basics. Now, the basics is going to seem extremely deep to you because entrepreneur thinking is totally, extremely different than being an employee. Unfortunately, a lot of the entrepreneur information that's in the community is from people who are faking the process. So these people are running around all day saying, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur, and this is what you got to know, and you got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. You got to be prepared to jump off the cliff, and at some point you won't fall." And they run these passages, and then so people start thinking that learning about becoming an entrepreneur is going to be a journey of motivational passages, not realizing that it requires deep dives and transformation. And transformation is difficult. That shit is just not easy. You just can't think yourself into change. You got to build yourself into change. You can't, I was talking to my son the other day, and I was like, yo, when you go to the gym, because he's like, yo, Pops, I want to get a different kind of body. So I said, cool, let's train for it, because he's 14, so 15, not 15. So he wants to train for a different kind of body. 15, is he? No, he's 15. No, he's 15. He's 15. Yeah, he's 15. He was just 14. What are you saying? I'll tell you. Yeah, they're 15. He's 15. I know he's 15. Anyway, He said he wants to transform his body. So I take him to the gym, and I say, and we work out a couple of times. I said, son, let me explain something to you real quick. Transformation is not a hard workout. Transformation is a pattern. When I train, anybody ever, a lot of times people come, say somebody's training for the first time, or they want to get back in the game because they used to be like Cassandra or Shakina, and now they want to get back in the game. And then they shrunk down and they're like Tone Vic. Sorry, Tone. And now they want to get back in the game, and they want to be Shakina. They want to be Shakina or Cassandra again. So they call me up, Nana. Hey, let's do this 2-hour, 3-hour workout. And I dismissed them. And why do I dismiss them? Because they think a hard workout counts. I'm more focused on maintaining a perfect pattern, and in that pattern, being mindful enough to raise the intensity of my workout. Not focusing on the intensity and then ignoring the pattern and realize that my pattern is being broken. And what I explain to him is if you have 2 hard days of training or even a solid month of hard training and then you miss another month, you've almost done nothing. You've had this emotional boost of feeling pain, but you think you made progress, but you've done nothing. And so if you don't maintain a consistent pattern, you have nothing. And so what I'm realizing from a lot of people is that they're reading for the emotional energy. That was deep, Nana. Ooh. These are the things they do. Right? Or Nana, I read the same book that was powerful. And they have this hype emotional space. But that doesn't mean anything. What is your pattern? Like even if you have a business, right? What is your pattern? And what you should always be examining is let me examine my pattern and adjusting and tweaking your pattern because your pattern is going to define the outcome, not highlighted moments. I don't give a shit if you read a powerful book one day. I don't give a shit if you went to college one day. I don't give a shit if you had a great title on a job one day. I don't give a shit if you had a great marriage one time or you met this beautiful person one time. The pattern. If we don't understand the game of pattern, we're not getting this shit. So this next piece I'm going to play, I'm stopping everybody for a second to say stop. Because you guys are doing these inspirational patterns. I'm starting to watch this energy. Stop. I'm going to play this video for you. In the house, you'll hear it. If you don't have to look at it. It's Sadhguru. Sadhguru is this, Guru is a spiritual leader from India. But I want you to hear this 5-minute passage from him. And when it ends, let's just cut it sharply, and I'm going to come back with radical responsibility. So with that being said, go ahead and play it.
Not every situation which seems like a solution is actually a solution, and not every situation which seems like a problem is a problem. So, what is a problem? What is a possibility? It's like this. There was a little bird in Michigan, United States, and winter was just setting in. This is the time he has to move south to warmer climes. But he was a little too happy and tweeting around, He had found a lot of company in the human species that so many of them were tweeting, so he was also busy tweeting. And he kind of delayed his flight south. So after weather started freezing, he tried to fly and his wings froze and he fell. Then a cow was walking by and cows, droppings happened. It landed straight on the bird. Feeling the warmth of the dung, slowly the bird recovered and became very happy and tweeted again from within the dung. A hungry cat was passing by, heard the tweet, opened up the dung and ate up the bird. So not everybody who heaps shit on you are your enemies. And not everybody who gets you out of shit are your friends. It is just that if you are equipped, if you have equipped yourself in such a way, no matter what happens, you know how to make it into a wonderful possibility for yourself. Because what life throws at us is not our choice always. We try to manage it to some extent, but it's not entirely our choice. Life may throw all kinds of things at us, but what we make out of it is 100% ours. If this one dimension, if we take charge of this, no matter what life throws at me, I will make this into a tremendous process for myself. Let it throw whatever. It doesn't matter what life throws at you, you will turn it into a possibility. You will not make anything into a problem because you are not a problem. This is a choice that every human being has, either for every situation. When I say every situation, there are only situations and situations and situations in our lives. When you don't know how to handle a particular situation, you call that a problem. What is a problem for you may be wonderful possibility for somebody else, usually is, isn't it? There are no problems in life, they're just situations. You can either make it into a possibility or a problem. You can either you yourself become a possibility or a problem. This is a choice every human being has. But to exercise this choice, you have to be in a certain way within yourself. Within yourself, you are in a certain state of equanimity, balance and exuberance that no matter what life throws at you, you will make it into a wonderful possibility. Life can throw all kinds of horrible things. Do not underestimate life, it can do things to you. Yes? It can do all kinds of things to you. Most unexpected time, it will throw something at you that you did not imagine possible. The more active you are, more unexpected things happen to you. Yes. So instead of trying to control what life should throw at you, equipping yourself in such a way, no matter what it throws at you, you will make it into a wonderful possibility. If this one thing is done within the human being, then every situation is a possibility. Once every situation becomes a possibility, this human being will blossom to a full-fledged life. And this is the aspiration of every life, to somehow become a full-fledged life.
You're back online? Am I muted? Good, good. Hopefully, everybody had a chance to make sure the output… Okay, good. So hopefully everybody had a chance to hear that. I didn't want to try to repeat that because he said it so eloquent that I left that in his hands. But he said, you don't have problems, you have situations. And the outcome is based upon your mindset. And when you have a problem, it becomes a possibility based upon your mindset. So last week, I introduced this idea called radical responsibility. And let me try to define it one more time. And please, those at home, because I received the understanding that many of you don't understand this phrase, but if you just look at the words, it means what it means. It's no matter what happens to you, you take radical responsibility. Reason I played that video, because it's in a list of the benefits of why you take radical responsibility. Now, radical responsibility doesn't mean it's your fault. It does not mean it's your fault. Radical responsibility has nothing to do with independence. First of all, independence is subjective. There's no real such thing as true independence doesn't exist. Not for human beings. So radical responsibility is something where whatever happens to you, even if it's not your fault, you take responsibility. Not others should take responsibility. I heard somebody say, well, this stuff happened at the lake and they should have. No. It's not for you to highlight what other people should do. It's a statement for yourself. You don't need a business to practice radical responsibility. But radical responsibility, let's go into the first phase. The first thing is that in order for you to be able to turn a problem into a possibility, you got to take responsibility. If you blame somebody else, you lose control of the opportunity. This is where great businesses and great minds are created. Because they say, once I take on responsibility, then I'm going to find myself obligated to produce a solution. I'm going to take it upon myself to own a solution. No matter what it is, even if I feel like I'm being treated unfairly. I use the example of if you're playing basketball and you're playing with Dennis Rodman, and Dennis Rodman is making these inappropriate touches that is not allowed in basketball. If you respond to it as if you're being victimized, you lose that game. But if you say, hey, he's cheating, and let me develop a counter strategy because I take ownership for my loss, then you develop a counter strategy and you win the game. So the first thing is that in order for you to take advantage of what what we've been trying to tell you this whole time in class is that when you bring a business, you're dealing with problems every day. But guess what? Remember they said opportunities only come around every once in a while? No, they're there every day because problems are there every day, right? So those are all opportunities. But the reason you can't convert them into opportunities is because you have a victim mindset. That's why I hate social justice thinking. They doing this to me, that's happening to me, all this external impact upon me when these are all possibilities. Now, if you go back and think about Black Wall Street and you use that same idea, radical responsibility, you don't blame them, you don't insult them. You don't even, nor do you praise the white folks. You say, what opportunity did we miss? What is it that we didn't know? What could we have done different? That's radical responsibility, as opposed to they did this to us and this happened and oh my God, and that's why you can't do stuff anymore. This is what you're doing. You're giving up your power. That's the other thing. Number two, we take radical responsibility, no longer can people take away your power. When something happens to you, when you take ownership, instead of you blaming them and feel like a victim, we take a radical responsibility. You go into like, how can I reframe this, restructure it, solve it, anchor it, adjust my what's the word I'm looking for? The title I assign to it. How do I change my mindsets to the point that I can take advantage of this problem that just occurred to me? This is the other benefit of radical responsibility. So many of us are so busy victimizing ourselves, all you do is beat yourself up. So when a problem happens, it's a blow to your chest, as opposed to energies coming towards you, using the energy to create momentum to bring force back in another direction. So quite often, we're missing stuff in that opportunity. The other one is this. Your brain cannot understand causation. Quite often, most of the so-called problems you're having is because of something you didn't do over here. One of my examples I gave this week is that, let's say you're training in Shakina's gym. Shakina says, hey, Tone Vic, your form is slightly off. You say, hey, look, I've been doing this all my life. Me and my boys did it this way. I was 16, 17, 18. I used to play football. This is how I get down. She says, no, but the science has proven the long-term impact of that is horrible. So you forget that conversation. Now you're 35, 40, 50. Your back is out. You having chronic back problems. Doctors can't figure out what the fuck is going on. Then they find out, man, your back is pretty bad. You better have to put you in operation. The operation caused you some financial problems because you wasn't prepared for that. So now you lose some things. So in the end, now you're just mad at, the legal system and the insurance system is messed up and my back, my mother always had a bad back. You lost causation. And that small little tweak of adjusting your form way back here has landed to a huge problem over here. But when you don't take radical responsibility, your brain won't start the natural process of tracing it back to what caused this. Now, why is that important? Once you understand what caused that, now when you're moving through life, you realize form is everything. Now, your friends be like, why are you tripping on that? It don't matter. That's small stuff. Yeah, it's small to you because you don't understand how it unfolds. But radical responsibility has the ability to trace the causation. That could be years back. And now you start to understand how these small things are starting to impact you. So now you know how to move back, move forward, and all of a sudden you start to reduce the problems in your life. Last point, and then, of course, I could tell Corey's where to go.
No. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this. My Thea's face was on.
For black folks, we say we want power.
Don't.
There is no power until you take full ownership of everything that's happening to you.
Oh my God.
Right now, so a sister in this class called me because there was a shooting on her block. She said, no, how does radical responsibility apply to this? And my response was, well, I'm not going to feel comfortable with what I have to say, but you do have responsibility. What do you mean? See, it's funny how a non-responsible people hang out with a responsible people. What do you mean? Because we're not calling our police to deal with our problem. We're calling their police to deal with our problems. We call their systems to solve our problems. We ask their management to manage our situations. We ask their health care to heal our people. We ask their farmers to feed our people. We don't even know that that's our responsibility. So when them young men are out there acting a fool, I bet you could trace it back to the young girl who's walking down the street when the baby daddy left her by herself and she's working 2 jobs and she's leaving the kids at home because she's trying to survive. Were you parenting the 2 kids? Were you engaged in playing with the kids then? Did you understand how tweaking your form at that point was going to change the impact? Number 2, is everybody grass cut on the block? Is everybody window repaired? Is everybody building painted? Because one of the messages that thugs receives is, if you don't care, we don't care. Right? And the cold part, the sister started to realize that. She said, this shit's crazy how much I didn't realize that was my responsibility. The neighborhood you live in, we don't realize when you move into a neighborhood, let this train go by. There's 2 trains going, I can tell, 2 trains. So when you move into a neighborhood, you have responsibilities towards your house and your neighborhood and your city. So if you're just coming in your house, even if you live in an apartment, you have responsibility to your apartment and your neighborhood. Do you drive by the trash, get out your car, and go inside the house? Or do you get up on the weekends and walk down the street and pick up trash? This is what radical responsibility says. It says, this is our responsibility. If you complain about something as if something outside of you is impacting you, you're missing the conversation. How is it that you at every festival and club and travel to every event around the nation and your city's falling apart and you complaining? I'm not saying you can't have some fun, but I bet you don't even have 20% of your time invested in solving the problems. See, radical responsibility is if anything happens to you, if your mate leaves you tomorrow, that was your responsibility.
Yeah.
If you're a parent of some kids and you're not with the mother or the father, the kids and the mother and the father is your responsibility. Because it's all tied together. I saw the comedian Jesus, what's his name? The comedian from down south of Georgia. Yeah, what's his name? Not the big guy. The other one. The one I watch him all the time. It's gonna come back to me in a minute. He does a character called Drip, and he does this character where he's dealing with his baby mamas, but one of the messages he preaches, and I think of his name in a minute, But one of the messages he preached on all of his shows is he says, I'll always take care of my baby mamas. I got all my baby mamas' houses. Why is that? Somebody be like, what? Because where your kids gonna stay? That's radical responsibility. See, it changes the game when you practice radical responsibility. Radical responsibility says anything that happens to you, even when it's unfair, take responsibility. The way LeBron James act in games, the way Harden acts in games, the way Kyrie Irving, that's the opposite of radical responsibility. Oh, this is happening because of me. This happened because of referees. This happened because of this. This happened because of this player. Radical responsibility says, what did I do to change it? You see the difference? So I want to drive this message home because what I heard was radical accountability. That's not what I suggested. Responsibility is that whatever happens to you. Now, I don't take responsibility for everything that happens to him. I take responsibility for what happens to me. Any feeling I have. And that means that when I have a problem and I own it, I can then convert it into an opportunity or a possibility. You guys see where I'm going with this? This is why I gave you that powerful ass tool. And somehow, folks are like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. And guess what? The conversion is going to be difficult. It ain't going to feel good.
Radical responsibility. Radical responsibility. I guess sometimes when you think about maybe why there aren't a lot of entrepreneurs that's in the game teaching these classes is because there is such a separation and vibration of game and receivers, because sometimes you can give some of your best nuggets, your best work, your best ideas that made you millions, ideas that changed your life, the trajectory of your life, and we be like, cool, yeah, that felt good, that was dope. And you're like, no, motherfucker, I was using EBT cards, and then I adopted this ideal and upgraded my software with this thing that I'm giving you for free right now, and you going, that felt good. That shit, it burns. It fucking burns. And radical responsibility is one of those. That can literally change the trajectory of your life. It can literally increase your bank account in 30 days. It can literally change the relationship between you and your children tomorrow. It can literally change the relationship with your love relationships tonight. It could I can keep going. Because once I adopted this and stopped blaming everybody for this and fairness and all that shit changed. Boom. Your vibrational frequency changes immediately. Boom. You're on a different one. People respond to you different. It's almost like you put off a different aura. You're a leader immediately. I don't have enough of the vocabulary to express how important this philosophy is to adopt. Everything. You take responsibility for everything. So if you got a baby mama problem and you like, see, that's why I don't fuck with her, she crazy, that's your responsibility. If you got an angry customer, say, he tripping, that's your responsibility. Every fucking thing. And if you have issues, crime, problems in your neighborhood, in your community, that's your responsibility. Doesn't mean that is 100% your responsibility, but you damn sure better be thinking about what can you do from where you're standing to help be a solution. There's a million motherfucking things stranded. How many can I throw back? It better not be. That ain't my problem. That Lake Merritt shooting shit, that was hella irritating. That wasn't us. That was on the other side. What? That's our responsibility. We take responsibility for the town, for our black folks, for the lake, and the shit that happens to us. Of course, we wasn't the ones shooting the guns, but we have a responsibility. I wasn't even there, and I'm like, fuck, what can I do from where I'm sitting? That's how we change as black people. That's how we change. As an entrepreneur, if you want to make more money tomorrow, all the shit that goes wrong that you blame on fairness, and mind you, let me go back. Black people's history starts with victimization. So it's not our fault. We were brought here. Fucking not fair. We were victims. We trying to get free. So we're victims. So that victim mindset is a natural rhythm.
Matter of fact, to say this, in order for us to stay victim, we got to think victim. Once you start thinking victim, you can start the process of start the process of changing yourself from being a victim to an opportunist. But mind you, 100% correct. But it only works if we buy into it. Because each generation that's born has an opportunity to be something different. But if they automatically assume they're victims, they become victims.
Right. So the victim is a purveying vibration, right? Purveying energy. It gets passed down. Victim. So but it takes someone to step outside that thinking to say, yo, what if I took responsibility? What if I did something? What if I went after it? What if I made a change? What can I do from where I'm standing? Like, fuck it, I'm willing to die for this shit. Whatever it is, I'm willing to die for it and take responsibility, whatever the fuck happens. Like, that takes people stepping outside of that mindset, and we poised now more than ever. But we got to get away from that thinking, that fairness thinking, and that, oh, it's okay, it's not your fault. No, like, Sometimes when I make jokes and say, yeah, I got here because I was a failed rapper, they're like, no, it's not because you were failed. It was, no, motherfucker, I was a whack rapper. It's okay. Like we got to stop softening each other and cuddling each other. Take responsibility.
And here's the thing, just real quick, and then we'll end it here. When you take responsibility, doesn't mean an answer immediately pops up in your mind of the solution. But when you take responsibility, it's almost like you're chiseling at solutions and opportunities and possibilities, right? Because what you're saying is, okay, I'm taking responsibility. So when you first take responsibility, you feel like you just run into a wall. But each time you keep doing that, you're getting closer and closer. Because what happens is once you take responsibility, you just can't go to sleep. See, okay, if you take responsibility, that means that emotion doesn't go away. So now you have a motivation to research a solution. Your ears are listening for a solution. Your eyes are seeking solutions. And so over time, you come up with these great ideas. Some of them are going to be multi-billion-dollar business-making ideas. This is the difference. This is why when you see generations of people just producing solutions on top of solutions. Think about this. 40-something million black people in our community. We have a very underdeveloped community. Even in Atlanta, only 5% of the community, we only own 5% of the businesses in Atlanta. Black as that city is, that means 95% of the businesses are not owned by black folks. So that means that we're extremely underdeveloped. Meaning that we're taking services and products that we can use but wasn't directly designed for us. Even they designed for us, they don't really have our deepest interest. So let's say Mattel comes up with a new black toy. Well, did Mattel buy new computers for the kids next year? That's the difference. And so we're highly underdeveloped. But the reason this pile of solutions are not being accessed, because we don't take responsibility. And so when we say it's a problem, we're just walking by all those possible solutions because we're too busy thinking about who did something to us, as opposed to using that brain power to, what's my responsibility, so how do I solve it? And that's where the power comes from. That's when we start building things. This is when we start creating a society where we start having our own police, our own farming system. I mean, look at the automobile. I'm watching this automobile because I'm in the market of a new vehicle. And I'm watching the evolution of electric vehicles. And I'm watching these white boys get down in respect. I respect to them. Like, I'm just no disrespect. Respect to these white boys get down. And I'm watching them have a problem of pollution and turning it into innovations that are profitable. But guess what? They didn't say, oh my God, Ford fucked us up and that's messed up and what we're going to do is we need to go to government and see if we can get Ford to stop. They said, we about to change it. We gonna do this. White boy who said, you know what, I'm gonna leave this PayPal, I'm gonna start first. I got this thing called Tesla, right? And at the end of the day, they're solving their problems. They're no better than us. There's no such thing as a race is better than another race. That's an illusion. But we already have the mindset of victimization, which means we shut down our thinking when it comes to creating opportunities and possibilities.
Hey, wait, real quick. So this just brought up something that Core said to me 3 years ago
Okay.
on November 2nd.
Oh, shit.
And I want to play it. This was at the retreat, actually.
Okay.
And it's a two-part thing, because the second thing I want to say is I would love, first let me play it just real quick. I want y'all to just hear this, okay? And this is crazy that y'all are talking about this now, because this is exactly what Court was telling me back then. 11/12, November 2nd. Real quick nugget from Court at the retreat in Tahoe. I gotta start taking control of my own thoughts daily, every morning. Instead of responding to things that are happening to me, understand that they're happening for me and that I created these things to happen. Am I understanding that correctly?
Take responsibility for
Take responsibility.
everything that happens to you, good and bad. And when that shit happens, when you do that, which is gonna happen. I'm talking to the self that's happening to. Good job, Tone. I'm hella fucking proud of you. I know you're doing big shit right now. Your life, you just shifted. You had a big shift. So I'm hella proud of you. I love you. Keep up the good work.
Man, thank you, bud. So I listen to that all the time, and it took me a while to actually take responsibility, because when Court first, I think we had a long talk about something like that. But when you first told me, I didn't really know. You know, I was going through the thing. I think I talked to Kev too. We were talking about stuff. But I listened to it all the time, because it took maybe a year and a half to really realize when I started to, and I'm not fully there yet, but when I started to take responsibility, you're right, things have changed. So I want you, if you guys can you give us and give the people some examples of when you started taking responsibility, radical responsibility for certain things in your life that we could, you know, see as a tangible change? Because I didn't believe in either. And now listening to it, I'm like, fuck, this is exactly what Core was talking about. And it did help me with my marriage, my kid, you know. I'm still learning how to take radical responsibility with my business. But it took damn near 3 years for this to really sink in, and now y'all saying it again, and I'm like, fuck, this is real.
Let me say this real quick. This
So
thing
can
called,
you just give an example of like
yeah,
what you've
well,
done?
Well, real quick. So one, it started for me. Shit. My mentor taught me this, and that might have been 20 years ago. And I remember when he first taught me, it was the most uncomfortable thing anyone's ever told me. Because my ego would love to say there's a perfect world out there, and the reason it's not that is because of somebody else is doing something. And that's ego. And when I went through that process, but I want to say this because I don't want to make it sound, I want to fix your question a little bit. It's a continuous adjustment. Because you're in a culture that subtly speaks towards somebody else is doing. You know what they did? You know what just happened to me today? You know what she said to me? You know what happened over here? And the way me and Mashama handles it, I can call Mashama and be like, man, you know what Court did last night? He'd be like, man, that's fucked up. And then he'll let me have that emotional space, which we all should this is something you should do. This is a proper stage. He'll let me have that emotional space, let me release that energy, and then after I release that energy, he'll say, okay, so what could you have done different? Right? If Court calls me and say, man, this happened, I'd be like, okay, but this is on you, bruh. So what's up? My boy called me the other day and told me about how this lawyer did him wrong, this other contractor got him for a few, like $20,000, $30,000. I think he lost a total of 150 grand on the project, cash. And he said, he kicked out a homeless dude, and the homeless dude sued him and got 40 G's, settled for 40 G's, right? Homeless dude. And when he finished talking, I said, okay, listen, man, I can sit with you all night long on this phone and act like we talking about some chicks doing us wrong. Well, we can do that kind of talk if we want to, but you know how I talk. So I can't play the blame game. That's like me blaming the girl you went out, she didn't show up on time, and she did this, and she did that, she did this. That's the most simp ass shit. I said, let me tell you this. I said, so let's talk about what you did wrong. I said, because at the end of the day, if we don't fix that, it's doomed to happen over and over and over and over and over again. And now I got to continue to hear this fucking rerun from you of the same fucking story with just different characters. It's like you're making the Fast and Furious just keep changing the fucking name, right? I don't want to do that shit. And so that's how I talk to my entrepreneur. When I talk to my entrepreneur friends, I'm way nicer in this class. With entrepreneurs, I'm very straightforward because they don't really want to hear all that oh, you're a great person. Like, they know I'm bullshitting them. They're going to feel like I'm conning them. I'm going to ask them for some money. And so to make a long story short, it's a continuum. And even as you build, it's this thing called noise. Noise is things around you that create reality distortions, right? Shabishi, hold on a second. Can you guys hold on a second? Things, because I'm talking to him, and then y'all, yeah. So things around you that create reality distortions, right? It's deeper than biases. Daniel Kahneman just came out with a new book called Noise. And when you're running a business, every time you hit a new stage in your life, a lot of these principles are seeds that need to be grown into this new life. So just because you understand radical responsibility doesn't mean, okay, that's just how I move. If you go into a new phase of your life, it's so easy for some of these core principles to become weak. And then it's up to you to analyze, like, when you do something, go back and reflect and go, did I take full responsibility in the way I addressed that? And if you didn't, it doesn't mean you did something bad, but then you know where you need to adjust moving forward, right? But radical responsibility is something that is not just an incident, it's a continuum of always assessing, did you take full responsibility? Because it is so easy, especially when the crowd gets around you and starts saying, they did us wrong. Oh, that was hella unfair. Like the sister who runs track, right? We was on the stairs. And James came up to me. We had a dope, me and James was the same direct lineman. And silence was between us. And James and James go, L, did you hear she can't even do the 400 now? So he's like, oh, that's fucked up. He goes, yeah, that's real messed up. I said, yeah, but make sure we don't tell our kids it's fucked up. He said, what do you mean? I said, because that young lady knew what the rules was. And she still chose to. And the Olympics is rules that are not real anyway. Somebody just made them up. So you learn how to run fast, those rules. So you have to also learn how not to smoke weed just for that gap. Whatever you have, go run until your legs won't run no more, but don't smoke weed right now. So when she chose to smoke that weed, if she takes radical responsibility, which she has, and I love her for the way she's getting down, but those of us around her is not taking radical, well, that's not fair. That ain't how it should work. First of all that shit's made up, right? It's just people running and then they sign a title to it. She's a 150-yard dash, da-da-da-da-da. She runs, right? But part of teaching our kids the correct way is, okay, once you take radical responsibility, now you can move forward. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to be an or situation. Yes, I agree. Marijuana doesn't make sense to me either. I think Biden even said that. He's like, yo, the rules are rules, but doesn't mean that makes sense, right? I get that. I'm not, nor is this a conversation about disrespecting her, because we all make fucking mistakes. Ain't nobody, if somebody watching this podcast and they're perfect, you need to go turn this off for a little while and just look in the mirror and process this for a minute, because you're not. But the reality is this: that's radical responsibility. Doesn't mean if it's fair or unfair. I did it for whatever reason. I own it, and what can I do moving forward? It empowers you. It literally empowers you.
Hey, I'll give it to you. I'll keep it 100 with you. I was on EBT card. This is in between businesses, doing bad, blaming the world for a lot of shit, and feeling my sense of fairness, because I felt like I'm a good dude. Why is all this fucked up shit happening to me? It ain't fair. And I had lost everything: wife, family, houses, business, money. So I'm on this spiritual journey because I had read tons and tons and tons and tons of books. I've been like this for a minute. So I'm like, all the books failed me, all the shit failed me, like shit just ain't fair. So I that's when I started my spiritual journey. So I'm learning I'm going down this spiritual rabbit hole, learning about meditation and yoga and this and that and fucking all these spiritual things, sage, so I'm doing that shit. So I find this stuff about ancient Egypt. You know, people go through these phases, right? So I'm on the Egypt hype, learning about Egypt, our people, and this and that. And I get my hands on this Egyptian Book of the Dead. And that because they were the ones with the wisdom who built the pyramids and all the shit, right? So I'm like, yo, this is gonna be crazy. It is an emerald tablet, the emerald tablet of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So I'm like, I'm about to learn some extraterrestrial knowledge. It's about to be crazy. Law number 1. Take responsibility for everything that happens to you. What the fuck? What? That's the fucking number 1 law in the Emerald Tablet in Egypt 10,000 years ago. So I'm like, this is some bullshit, right? And then there's more, but it didn't hit me, but it hit me. So as I started growing, I realized, damn, let me just try this. Let me just try it for a week. Everything that happened, hey, my fault. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Oh, that's my bad. You okay? Just everything. I just for a week I tried to just anything and everything that happened. Somebody's mad on the road. My bad. Go ahead, bro. You got it. It's my responsibility. Yep, I'll take it. Oh, here, you need something to eat? Here, take it. Here, take mine. And I just in that short amount of time, things start just behaving different. The world just seemed different. Oh my God. So that's really the spark. So I got kind of addicted to it because I realized that was my vibrational change I needed to get me out of the fucking mud that I was in. I was making $0 a month, $0 a month. And I couldn't figure out why. But the majority of the reason is that I was blaming everybody for everything.
All right, let's get into this E-myth. So this E-myth is about to get heated today. So we come heated because this first lesson, so we know we've been talking about working your business and running your business. This next lesson is how to run your business. This next lesson we're about to jump into, you're going to realize that most people don't do this, especially in our community. And you cannot access that form of thinking, this form of thinking, without radical responsibility, and the other one, which is separating facts from the story. Facts from the story and radical responsibility will help you get to this next portion of the lesson. So let's jump into the E-myth real quick. The tools we're going to examine this. This was in the E-myth book, and I bet you most of you guys missed this. But I talked about innovation, quantification, and orchestration. Is Shabisha still our reader? Is she still? Oh, you gonna take care? Okay. Tone gonna take the reading for this time.
This is Tone Vic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got one of the original Temptations here to read for us.
Boys to Men, bass
So
guy.
we're gonna jump into this.
Based to
This
man.
here. So currently, right now, I'm using some of these tools. This is a continuous thing that you do. We're going through this right now in 5T Media, and we'll be going through this 20 years from now. And this is something that if you were talking about running your business, we're about to get into the thought and the practices and patterns of running your business. Let me say this real quick before you get to this innovation, quantification, and orchestration. There's one that's not in the book, but let me give this to you up front. Uncertainty. Human beings hate uncertainty. Let me say this again. Human beings hate uncertainty. So when you go back to your business, here's a cool audit. And mind you, you think you can think about this on the top of your head, but you can't. I want you to sit down and look at your customer service and find in your customer service any point when your customer is suffering or dealing with uncertainty about your services or product. If I say, hey, we're going to work on this for a minute, and we leave, and I don't give you details and call you and notify you of certain stages, that's uncertainty. If I deliver something to you without a clear explanation, that's uncertainty. If communication is damaged, or you walk into a store and you don't, say if you have a department store and people walk into your store, if you can't process the psychology of a human being walking to your store, at what point do they experience uncertainty, and have you managed that uncertainty? Those are huge gaps. The business who controls uncertainty the best usually wins the race. Here's a trick. That's game. So whatever you're doing, if you're working on, if you have a business, if you're a manager at a company, and your uncertainty game is weak, then your management is weak. If you're starting a project next week where you're on a PTA, if your uncertainty is unclear, your PTA project is unclear. No matter what you are doing, uncertainty is the first audit. But now we're going to jump into the rules of innovation, quantification, and orchestration. So the first one is innovation. Go ahead, Shabisha. That was good, by the way.
Hella good. Hold on. That peach cobbler was hella good. Thank you, Shakira.
Yeah, I'm over here tearing up.
Innovation is often thought of as creativity. Creativity thinks up new things. Innovation does new things.
So let me say this real quick. Two things. One, invention and innovation are two different things. Sometimes we think invention, innovation. Innovation is improving on something that exists. Invention is the creation of something that does not exist, right? So when the car was produced, that was an invention. Designing a horn or designing seatbelts was innovation. So it's improving on something that already exists. Number two is not sitting around being stuck in a paralysis of analysis, which is just sitting around your business going, what would I change? I think I would. I think, I don't know. I think, you know what would be beautiful if we just painted red instead of blue? Yeah, I like blue more than I like red. That's not what we're talking about. Innovation is sitting down and analyzing every small thing your business does. First of all, you have to be very clear about the process and procedures. If your business doesn't have clear process and procedures, then innovation is close to impossible. Because even when you're innovating, you're sporadic. But in your innovation, it's the way you do things, the way you show up every time that's critical. Number two about innovation, well, let's go to the next one. Let's keep it going. Let's keep going. Innovation, keep going.
To the franchisor, the entire process by which the business does business is a marketing tool, a mechanism for finding and keeping customers. Each and every component of the business system is a means through which the franchisor can differentiate his business from all other businesses in the mind of his consumer. Where the business is the product, how the business interacts with the consumer is more important than what it sells.
Read that last.
Oh my God.
Read that last line.
Okay. Where the business is the product, how the business interacts with the consumer is more important than what it sells.
Shakita, it's more important than your training. It's more important than spritz. Brownie is more important than your barbecue sauce. Sam is more important than your carpet cleaning business. Ashley is more important than your catering. Charlize is more important than your management. Fern is more important than your wine. You see what I'm saying with this? Okay.
I don't think they get
We're gonna
it.
take some time.
No.
This is hella serious. Mark, when I said to you guys a long time ago, you don't have a business, you have a marketing company. Your marketing company happens to sell barbecue sauce or wine. Some of you guys built your business on the pride of your product. So let's just say Corey Smith said, man, my design is so motherfucking tight. And then he puts all of his energy of focusing his communication around how tight his shit is. And he can't wait to say, yo, I made that for you. Be like, oh, shit, I can't wait to see that response. That's not good business. The business is how I feel in the process from the time I hear about this product, engage this product, and walk away with this product, and experience this product when I'm not around him. The experience of the consistency and the professionalism. How his people spoke to me. What color clothing they wore. What time the business was open. What did the glass doors look like? What did the cement look like in front of his store? What did the air smell like? What was tactile for me? What did I touch? What did that experience feel like? You're managing this experience, and here's the thing: you don't get it to a certain point. You keep tweaking it based upon the changes and desires of your customer. Where we go wrong is we think the product is a business. We think brownie barbecue sauce is the business. No. It's the innovation of how she delivers the product to the market is the business. And it's such a trap. Yeah. It's the coldest trap because artists, photographer. Say you become the best photographer amongst your peers. Shoot better than everybody. So now when you show up to customers, you kind of get this entitlement undertone because you know you're the best. You know competition can't fuck with you. And because you think you're the best, you show up and you're like, okay, I'm going to give them a dope product, and that's all that really matters. But the reason you don't get the robust repeated customer or the exponential growth is because you think you being dope is the most important thing. But if you understand the most important thing is the way you make them feel from the whole experience. The photo shoot should feel, and it has to be consistent. Meaning that every time they come back, it has to be the exact same experience. Any subtle changes, that means remember I said patterns define everything, not incidents. Any subtle changes everything. I'm talking about how you touch a customer when you talk to them. How you look at them, look them in the eyes. How do you address customers? What do you say? For example, there's an example in the book, and he says, person walks in and he says, can I help you? The person goes, oh, no, I'm okay, right? And that customer walks away. He said, but by tweaking the simple question is, have you ever been in our store before? And the person says, if they say no, you say, well, that's good because these are things we have, so the conversation continues. They say yes. You say, well, yeah, well, then you must be familiar with, and the conversation continues. And they've seen sales go up by 10 to 16%. A subtle tweak. Another tweak is you have a website. Somebody goes, hey, let's just shift the buy button over here. Sales go up by 300,000. Just jump in. But the key thing I was just saying real quick is business is not about a product or a process. I say that again too. Process is necessary, but some of us get stuck in the process. Where if you call a customer up, you call a business up, and go, hey, this is the process of what we go through. If you want to work with us, this is where we're going to take you through the process because our process is important. That process doesn't mean anything if it doesn't serve the need of the customer.
Radical responsibility. Again, if you don't have it, it's going to be hard to move in this rhythm. Because where the business is a product, how the business interacts with the customer is more important than what it sells. So if you don't understand you are in the customer feeling business, just as much as you're in the product or service that you have business, then you're going to be fucked. Because anytime a customer makes a suggestion, ain't happy, something's not quite right, and they express it, or it's what they don't say, you are going to push that aside and play the blame game or be like, hey, well, that's it, or you just ain't my customer, or you tripping. You have to realize it's your responsibility to manage how the customer feels the end, during, and the beginning of your process. If not, then biggest sales come from what? Referral. So you got one. You got a customer. Man, you better nourish the fuck out of that customer because you want to manage the touch point of that customer because they're the ones that's going to advocate for you to get more. So this piece is hell of important. And I'm an artist. I'm an artist, and I was caught in that trap for so many years until I realized.
Me too.
Man, check this out, customer. I've gotten, I've tweaked it and played with it so good that sometimes I know I failed the customer with the product, and they're so used to us giving them great customer service, they still want to take it. And I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm not going to give this to you. I can't. It ain't up to our standards. No, come on, it's cool, Court. I know you. You be always trying to do too much. I'll take it. Now, this is a D for me. But it's not because the product actually looks good. It doesn't. It's because the customer service and customer interaction and all the little details in those moments were on point to the point to where they're like, in their mind, it's myopia. Like, it's dope to them. It's like hero worship almost. So that is your key component, is fucking understanding that customer happiness and customer engagement is just as important or more than the product.
Before you say something, Shabish, real quick. If you're that person that likes to be right, because first of all, I'm going to talk about right, how being right will make you suffer. I'm going to get into that next week. But if you're trying to be right, you can't excel here. Because what you're doing is you're trying to drive a narcissistic vision as opposed to discovery. Curiosity is a tool in this space. Number two, you have to disconnect from your business. If you got that egotistical passion, you will not be able to innovate. I promise you, not at all. You'll be so right will be this. You're too busy trying to tell a customer what they need as opposed to what they're asking for. This is what right people do. They don't know they're doing it, but they're unconsciously like, well, why'd you want that? That don't make sense. As opposed to, they want that. It doesn't make sense. What is the opportunity telling me about? You mean I don't have to sell them all this other shit? They don't want the bread and the lettuce. They just want the cooked meat and that's it? Oh, my God, I'm tripping. But you won't let a customer take it because you have this right story of how everything's supposed to unfold. And it's supposed to be just like it. I'm going to deliver, and they're going to be applauding me, and they're going to make these sales. I'm going to blow up. That's the story that's in your head. You got to be able to adjust because remember, there ain't no problems. It's just situations. Right? That's number one. Number two, when you run a business, stop. This is why you can't go in there and just do all the routines. Because guess what? Now you're stuck in the noise of your business. You got to be able to step back and let other people do stuff and watch it. Shut the fuck up. And look for things you go, that don't translate. Deeply listen. Stop treating your customers as if they're transactional. Customer comes in, just let them talk. Get them comfortable where they can talk. And they will give you so much insight on your business, it's ridiculous. But a lot of times we don't see the insight because we filter out what we don't want to hear, even though we say, oh, I'm nice to all my customers, but you really didn't hear what they said. Because in the end, you got to feel right. Shabishi, you have something to say?
I had a question, but based on where the conversation just went, I think I should sit with it a little more.
Okay.
Hey, you want to make more money? You want to make more money? You want to scale your business out, like grow it? Do this shit. Do this shit. Don't even fucking talk about it. Just start doing it. Fuck the talking. Like, do this shit. It's that easy. It's caveman. Once you look at your customer as compound interest to more customers and your responsibility to make sure that they are nurtured in a way, every step of you're going to make more money. Hey, did you hear about, you got to go fuck with Tone. You hear about Shabi? You hear about Shakir? Like, I'm telling you, that is the...
We give you, now this is money that making stuff we give you.
It's money making shit today.
We teach you all the time how to think. Here's a recipe you go apply right now.
Right
and you
now.
go start saying, oh shit, right? Let me say this one other one too. I'm gonna go backwards because there's a lot here. It says each and every component of the business system is a means through which the franchisor can differentiate his business from all other businesses in the minds of his or her consumer. Let me argue this point real quick because you guys miss this. Everything you do in the process is an opportunity to differentiate yourself. For example, the way you answer a phone call, the way you talk to customers, the way you deliver a product, the way you present the product, the way you follow up with the customers, the way that you engage with them through the process, the way that you anything that you do is an opportunity. Every time you have a touch point with a customer, you have an opportunity to differentiate. Why is that important? Because some of y'all think the way you differentiate is you don't share a fucking idea. That's the dumbest shit ever. You know the best way to develop an idea? Share it. Because let me just give you a psychology. There's a neuroscience reason behind that. The way the human brain works is this. When you're talking about something in your mind, you rationalize how to serve somebody else, you're assuming their logic, which is kind of the distortion because you don't know their logic. So when you assume their logic, which is really your logic, and you process the idea, it all works perfectly because it's going through your process of thought. But when you give it to tone and you realize, oh shit, that don't apply, all of a sudden you find yourself stuttering because you realize, okay, this don't make sense to you. It sounded so good in my head, but for some reason when I explain it, it doesn't make sense. So when you're running a business, you come up with these ideas, what's good for a customer, or these ideas you want to start a business for people. When you share with other people, you get a chance to polish the idea to bring it to a market. So let's just say in this mythical world where people supposedly steal your business and take off with it, which I don't, yeah, okay, great. I guess that's a couple of movies you've seen in your lifetime. But let's just say that's happened. But we both can take off and you could be Ford, I could be GM. But one of us is going to be the king and one is going to be the queen. I mean, the king is going to be something, the jester or something, or next in line, number two. We're going to be somebody's going to be number two. Prince, yeah. Somebody's going to be the king and somebody's going to be the prince. Our queen and princess for those of the Me Too queens in a camp. But regardless of what that is, what I'm suggesting is this. What makes you the king is how you are controlling the processes. Not the origin of the idea. The origin of the idea is just that. It's just the origin. It doesn't really have much. I don't give a fuck how great your idea is. That's why I can't stand these motherfuckers who are to me talking about, can I get you to sign this NDA agreement? You can kiss my ass 14 fucking different ways. Why? Because obviously you don't understand how ideas live in the wild. When they go into the wild, what makes them successful is how you execute them. Everybody can, look, a person can come and see your written plays, but how you execute them and how that player initiates them is where the power is at. It ain't the fucking X's and O's on the board, right? And so at the end of the day, it's like we get this idea confused that what makes a business unique is the idea. Now I got this idea I want to share. This idea, oh my God, I'm so excited. This idea is so amazing. Wait till you hear this idea. That's passion and your ego got you fucked up.
So, but you're not saying like things like Facebook and, when we look at tech companies, when companies steal other people's ideas. I mean, we live in the Bay Area.
No.
We see other companies that
No.
do things like that.
No,
You
that-
see the stories that happen.
You know how many
like
Facebooks
that.
there was?
I understand that, but I mean, there
well,
are people that
well, here-
if people have the resources, if I have an idea that I think is dope, and I show Court, but Court, let's say we don't know each other, but I know that he has the resources to get something done, and I take what you're saying and don't have him sign the NDA. Now he takes my idea and he runs with it because he has the resources to get that done, maybe quicker than me.
Hey, first of all, it's a myth.
It's a myth.
That whole resource shit is a myth. Second of all, NDAs don't work in California anyway. So
How was
NDAs they don't work in California. It's a known fact. So it's just you playing a mythological game.
Even the old patent that shit
copyright
don't work
side.
no more either.
Third is understand this. An idea is you, in terms of execution of anything, in terms of bringing anything to market. It may be 12 things that are part of the process of bringing something to market. The idea is the weakest one. The idea is one.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
And money ain't
all the
money-
way up to
yeah.
12. And money is just one of those. So there's all kind of other elements that it takes to bring any idea to fruition. And one is a manageable system, management, leadership, organization, all kind of shit. So that's why you don't trip. Us as black people, we're so scared of that. Now, understand this. Has it happened in the past? Maybe. But if you're talking about the wild, ideas get stolen from each other at the same level a lot. Like designs get taken, Samsung takes the iPhone, but you're already at the level of hundreds of billions.
I'm gonna turn on my Mashama thinking, because Mashama thinks he has a different rhythm. So I'm gonna go into his rhythm, right? Because I can copy his rhythm of thought. That's how, because we've been partners for that damn many years. But so you suggesting when you start, when do you talk about your idea? You don't hire your employees. When do you build it out? Because how do you keep, like, and you saying day one once you get started? Let's say second year, your money's gonna be so strong that you can ward off the money. At what point? When? And two, if you think that, first of all, a lot of great business ideas is people who have that type of focus. And if somebody's coming for you that way, that's fine. But even if you take off before me, don't mean the person who can run that race the best wins. It doesn't even fucking matter if you take off first, right? Like, these are ideas and myths. The reason we call them myths is because as you explore the idea, it breaks down every way you take it. It's not like, oh wait, that can make sense, right? It's like when you hear about corporate espionage, where people are stealing these high-end, these are two well-developed systems.
Way developed.
Well-developed. We ain't talking about takeoffs.
Yeah, we're talking about some hood cats at the beginning.
Like you think Apple created the iPhone first? Hell no. There was hella touch phones that was happening. Just Apple did it better, right? They didn't do the MP3 player. Tesla ain't the first electrical vehicle, right? It's just like everybody goes, okay, I really want to develop this, and I have the business knowledge and structure and system to bring it to the market. But at the end of the day, bring it to the market. You can bring it to the market, nobody buy the shit. Ask the first few car makers. Nobody wanted them fucking cars, right? Except a few rich people, right? The mass sale of it is because somebody understood marketing. And if you go back and read Henry Ford's story, he's telling you all these marketing secrets, and you over there talking about, well, what nut and bolt did he use? What color was the car? What was the steering wheel looking like? No, this man understood marketing, right? He's a marketing fucking genius. And even Steve Jobs, if you ask Steve Jobs to program some shit, you've been in that room waiting for the rest of your fucking life, right? But Steve Jobs understood that the reason everybody else is failing with telephones, they didn't understand marketing.
Hey, yo, here's one. Who invented electricity?
Oh, I know that one. This is good.
Name who? Who invented electricity? Who's the name? Who invented electricity? Who's the white man? Thomas Edison, right? Thomas Edison is the name that people use for the light bulb and electricity. Is that correct? Okay, so did you know Nikola Tesla was the one who invented AC? AC was way more, this is how we get power, and way more other shit. Way more other amazing fusion technology. Was whooping Thomas Edison's ass. But guess what Thomas Edison did? He would have public execution of animals with Nikola Tesla's electricity to show how dangerous it was and that his electricity was safer. And guess what it did? It horrified the crowd. Guess what happened to Nikola Tesla? He went bankrupt. Guess what Thomas Edison did? After he went bankrupt, he bought all his patents and combined it with his technology and blew the fuck up.
That's good business. I mean, it's not.
It's good business.
You can call it what you want. It's good business. And matter of fact, Thomas Edison, there was another dude in England that was running, was in competition with him, but Thomas Edison had better speed and better marketing. So there's more than just one person working on a light bulb. So that's the reason I'm trying to bring to you, like, that whole idea, like when you share the idea and what makes you unique is your business tactics, your innovation, how you're managing your business and opportunity. Because at the end of the day, let's write this down. You don't build businesses, you build people.
Man,
There's no such thing as I'm running a business. You're not running a business, you're running people.
yeah, man, come
Question. Can you, this might sound like a simple question, but what is marketing? And the reason that I'm asking that is because of this conversation versus franchising being a marketing tool. And so the distinction between like tools of marketing and what you guys are saying is something bigger. So can you
Okay, I'm gonna give a quick
talk about marketing from the standpoint of an entrepreneur?
That is a long question, but I'm gonna give a quick answer so we can keep moving. marketing is the human experience engagement with your business, right? How you impact the human engagement. So marketing is psychologically how you engage people, not the transaction of sales, but psychologically, what is the experience I'm having from every sensory engagement of your products and services.
So your store design is a marketing tool.
That's engagement.
So then promotion is a tool
It's a
of
tool.
marketing.
It's not like when you go to the 5 P's of marketing.
Yep.
If those of you at home look at the 5 P's of marketing, what's common between all those 5 P's? It has to do with the human engagement to your idea. Really, your idea. Let's make it even deeper. Your idea, because your product and service is an idea. So the human engagement of your idea. So in order for your employees to say, we work at 5T Media, like the marketing is what makes 5T Media is a word. It doesn't mean anything. But when I assign meaning to it and I put things around it to give the human a certain experience so they feel the experience, right? Like the NBA doesn't mean anything. But once you start putting all that stuff around, all that marketing around it, it becomes real to a human being. So it's psychologically the way you engage with the psychology of other human beings that breed value into your products and services. That's a kind of really broad, looser. I can get into more. I want to go back into a deeper dive into it as we get closer to the end of the year. But that's a broader conversation around it because I think if we understand it's a psychological engagement, right? The flyer is not pretty colors. It's a psychological tool. So now you need to understand how to use psychologically impact a person with a flyer. Not, oh, this is cute. They're going to love the way I look. So that means psychologically you don't give a fuck because you love it. This is why we teach you ego's the enemy, because in order for you to access outside people and impact people around you, you got to stop making it all about yourself. And make it all about yourself, not the obvious make it all about yourself, like that really narcissistic person or that person who suffers from grandiosity, who just all they talk about is themselves. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about unconsciously, we don't realize how deep down inside so many of our ideas are filtered through, well, this is how I feel. And ultimately what we're trained to do is go, all right, let's realize that we own only so much. Meaning that we own where we want to, like maybe we own what we're trying to do or the process, or we may own the process and its relationship to the outcome. But the directions of how we get there, the public owns that. So we might start off on a journey like, I'm going to sell oranges. I'm telling you, I'm going to sell oranges on this corner this way. And before you know it, I'm selling apples or I'm selling fruit smoothies over here. You're like, how did that happen? Because the customers told me they didn't want them fucking oranges. They want me to sell smoothies. And in the end, I care about this outcome. But in order to get the outcome, I have to serve them, not serve myself. And so lots of times when you listen to these ego books, we use the word serve, be humble, serve, make yourself. And we don't realize we're teaching you how to lead.
Hey, and you know what's real? Y'all, a lot of y'all don't want to hear that shit. You don't want to hear the word serve. You don't want to hear that. Because a lot of us became entrepreneurs so we could be a boss. We could be a boss. We can boss motherfucker. We don't nobody tell us what to do. But your customers, you are a servant to your customers. That's what you are. If you can't grasp that or comprehend that concept, then it's going to be a hard time for you to gain more customers. Because if somebody feel served or attended to, like if you go to a vacation and go somewhere, Jamaica, anywhere, where customer service is crazy, before you sit something down, there's a new one there. What the fuck? You're eating your food, whatever, chicken wing. You eat the last chicken wing, and now that plate's gone, and you got napkins, and they're there, and they're tending to your every need. Your water stays full. Guess how are you gonna feel? Man, this is amazing. I didn't have to lift a finger. This place is great because of the service. As an entrepreneur, if you have a business, your service has to be the same way. And not just you physically, but your environment, the people around you, how when they walk in, how comfortable they are, every fucking thing. If not, then you leave yourself open, radical responsibility again, you leave yourself open for other competitors to serve better than you. And once another competitor can come in and serve better than you, they can give an inferior product and still win.
Do me a favor, also, send Marquita, Where'd Marquita go? Oh, it's okay. Marquita, if you listen to this, send the link, or I send a link to the Sadhguru that we played earlier. So if folks want to save that YouTube site and play that for themselves to remind themselves until they can actually own that. When they hear that phrase, they're smiling because they know that's who they are, as opposed to you're hearing you going, ouch, or ooh, why you don't get that yet, right? When you start to hear that video and you say, that 5-minute video, and say, that's me, that's taking you to a higher level of leadership. Like there's levels to leadership. And we're trying to get you guys to a much higher level. Some of us have been raised to serve some of the lowest level of leadership. And we're trying to raise you because if you're talking about building big things and large things and have big community impact and living and building to your heart, to what your heart desires, then you're going to have to raise your level of leadership. Let's go to the next one.
The how doesn't have to be expensive to be effective.
So innovation. In your innovation, you don't have to go to your office or to wherever you're leading. If you're a manager or if you're in a business, it doesn't require that you start spending budget for innovation. Innovation, I keep going. It doesn't have to be expensive or to be effective. Go ahead.
In fact, some of the most powerful innovations have required little more than the change of a few words, a gesture, the color of clothing.
So, can I give y'all some game real quick? That's game right there. Shit. Hey, I feel like I was on the block. He's like, shit, that's game right there. Shit. Your employees, the way things are running. Like some of you guys, you walk into your business and shit just on the wall. What people wear is just up for grabs. Somebody walks to your business, somebody offering water, it's just up for grabs. You have to sit down and not only, once you examine something that needs to be innovated, you make it a policy. Now, once you make it a policy, it only works as long as it works. And when it doesn't work anymore, you change it. That's it. That's it. Now, this is hella powerful. Because if you get this idea here, this is how you stop from becoming BlackBerry or Blockbuster. Because you're always innovating based upon customer observation. And if that's your main focus, you're always pivoting. So your business, so you may start off, let's say you start with Spritz at the beginning. Now, are you surprised your Coca-Cola, like the Coca company, where you have water and soda? You have other products that go along with the water and sodas. Why? You have energy drinks. Because why? Your main job is to watch the customer and keep making subtle tweaks. And what happens as time change, you're there with you're riding with your customers. And when a new youth and a younger customer comes up, you're listening to them and you ride with them because you're never getting to a point where you go, this is how we do business. But you're always in constant innovation rhythm. Innovation is not something you do today, one time. You don't do it, call me up, be like, no, my shit innovated, baby. I innovated. Oh man, look here. I went up to Pinpoint last night.
Soulja Boy.
My shit just hella innovated up in this motherfucker. And then 6 months later, no, my number's going down. Are you still innovating? No, this shit got innovated 6 months ago. I told you I was innovating. You feel me? So at the end of the day, it's like, you feel me, assumption. So at the end of the day, what I'm suggesting you guys that innovation is what you call working your business or running your business. Excuse me, running your business. So do you constant innovating your business and driving changes and looking at tweaks and kind of always making things better? That's the difference. Where when you work in your business, you have an idea of process and procedures, and you're just trying to work those as a job to maintain a certain outcome, or to the point that you actually burn yourself out.
Some of us have a type of personality to where we know we're givers. We know we're givers. So a lot of us sometimes we're protecting ourselves in our personal lives because we're protecting ourselves from getting hurt because we don't want to give too much. Or in relationships, I'm protecting myself because once I'm in, I'm all the way in, that type of shit. I'm just trying to think trying to step into the other side for a second in terms of thinking. Like, what's some of the resistance behind being so open and relaxed and willing to be of service so that that innovation can come? A lot of times, sometimes we're protecting ourselves, we're protecting our energy. But understand this. This relates in all aspects of your life: business, friendships, relationships. If you are holding back and always waiting for somebody to give to you, then it's going to be hard as fuck to service a customer, because you ain't even exercising that muscle. You ain't had no opportunity to. A lot of times we want relationships, we want love relationships, but I ain't doing that. What the fuck? Like they shaming an old fucking Destiny's Child song about giving to their man right now, because what? That's some bullshit. Like I would never do. He gonna have to do it for me. Okay, well then be where you at then, because if that's the mentality that we have right now, that you ain't even like, that's not even a thought. How the hell can we have that energy towards our? Because that's the same energy. Male, female, anybody. Hey, are you good? What can I do to help? What can I do to make this experience amazing for you? And if you keep that energy at all times, it's going to bleed off into the rest of your life.
All right, now let's get now this is part 2. Quantification. Now, I have said in this class, you have to learn to think in numbers, right? Now, quantification, I'm going to just read this first part. I'm going to let you get into this conversation, and I'm going to just kind of give a little description. It begins by quantifying everything related to how you do business. I mean everything. So, for example, when you change the innovation in your business, measure the changes in your business. How many phone calls did you get? How much money how many transactions did you do that month? Like every time, otherwise, if you're making tweaks and you don't have a way of quantifying them, guess what's happening? You're still in a narcissistic space. You have to be able to learn to measure everything. Go through this list real quick, Shabisha, with how many customers. So these are things you want to quantify. Some of these are some of the things, but there's more. But go ahead.
How many customers do you see in person each day? Mm-hmm. How many in the morning, in the afternoon? How many people call your business each day? How many people call to ask for a price? How many want to purchase something? How many of product X are sold each day? At what time of the day are they sold? At what time of the day? At what time of the day are they sold? How many are sold each week? Which days are busiest? How busy? You can't ask too many questions about the numbers.
You want to learn to you want to get so deep. Now, mind you, when you first start, most small businesses don't like numbers. They just don't. Just don't. I'm not saying you got to do that just as fast as you innovate. But you eventually have to get to the point where you start putting numbers around, or at least be number aware of the details that's happening in your business. Because when you make a change in your business, you'll know if it was cost effective or not. You can go out and buy a $300 idea, but you lost 2% of your customers, right? Or you can remove a piece of equipment from your space and you gain a 10% increase in customers. You won't know that. You can answer the phone, how are you today? You can practice different techniques. Okay, we'll do this one technique for the whole week, everybody. Mm-hmm. Every time we speak to a customer, everybody speaks the same way. And then we look at the numbers and look at the responses and go, yo, we see this shift in this, we see this shift in that, we see this shift of conversions. But if you don't have a way of quantifying the numbers, and you don't teach your staff to think about quantifying numbers, you can get caught up in biases and feelings and mental distortions. And so quantification is a way to stop yourself from blindly trying to navigate. But the way you do that is you start recording something. So in the beginning stage, record the most basics. The most basics. How many phone calls are we getting a week? What days are the most phone calls come in? On those phone calls, what kind of customers calling us? How much are they willing to spend? Right? Something basic. Just get the basics, and keep a journal of those things. And what happens is, as you tweak and as you see things that are just not working, it's like if you watch a basketball game. I don't know if you ever watch a basketball game and then look at the stats afterwards. When you watch a basketball game, it's just people run up and down the court, and you get caught up in one player who's just making these miraculous plays. And you're like, oh my God, the crowd's cheering. Ah. And other teams just seem like they're just playing slow pace. You're thinking, oh, they're going to lose because my team got the hype. And in the game, they win. And you're like, how the fuck did they win? Right? And you look at the stats. Oh, they had how many turnovers? Or they only rebounded how many times? They missed how many free throws? You won't remember that when you watch the game. You won't remember that when you run your business day to day. If you don't keep the stats, you won't see the problem. So then, if you didn't have the numbers, you won't know, well, when we go back to practice, we're going to work on our free throws. We go back to practice, we're going to work on our box out. We go back to practice, we're going to run these certain kind of plays because we're taking hits here. We're going to fight ourselves, we're going to fight over the screen because going under the screen is getting us killed. Right? You won't know that if you don't look at your numbers. And so when you're managing your team and you don't know your numbers, you're on some emotional shit. But when you look at your numbers, you can say, hey, guys, this is our numbers. And mind you, you can even have the wrong strategy. Because if you have the wrong strategy, the numbers will tell you that was a bad strategy. But you can also, this is another thing too. Let me help you out. Let me add this back to the innovation. Remember I told you guys if you want to grow your assumptions, start traveling. But travel non-traditional. Like go and explore. Go get lost. Put your pocket in your. Do not check your phone the whole fucking time you're traveling, unless you have to make a call because you have to connect with somebody. But don't stay on your. Don't you dare sit down and read a fucking newspaper article, Facebook, or any social media if you travel. And every time you go into a business, try to observe patterns, solutions, processes. Look for opportunities to learn new ways of solving problems. Now, going back to qualifications. So when you're in a position where you have to make adjustment because your numbers are off, because your eyes are always looking for new ways to do things everywhere you go, now you have a plethora of knowledge you can access. And the cool part, once you learn to meditate, I'm gonna show you how we have been giving you all these fucking tools. Once you learn to calm your mind, meditate, or just play, your brain will have a tendency to pull back and put together equations of experiences and give you new innovating ideas. The innovation has always been inside of you, but you can't access it because you're going too hard to paint. When you just relax that mind, meditate, jump in the shower, play. I mean, literally go play like a fucking kid. Play. Even your staff, play. Innovation will take the past experiences from you going out and travel and seeing things, asking questions, being curious. When you meet people, well, how'd you get that done? Tell me how you did that. Oh my God, how'd you solve that? As opposed to when you see people, you're trying to prove that you worthy of being in a conversation. So now I'm going to prove I'm good enough. And I'm going to occupy this opportunity with this person I can learn from by spending the next 45 fucking minutes talking as opposed to, hey, what do you do? How'd you get that done? Because why are you doing that? You're mining this person and that person and that person for gold nuggets. So when the numbers come back and say, hey, guess what? That shit ain't working, Tone. Your brain can say, okay, I'm going to go relax, go play for a little while. You chilling, being mindful, mindless, and all of a sudden your brain goes, you know what you can do? You're like, oh, shit.
Yep. Hey, real talk, real time application. There was one year we hustling. Crazy. It's busy as fuck. Hey, I can't talk. I'm busy. I'm working. Everybody working in the office. Customers, deals coming in every other day. It was beautiful. End of the year. Deficit. How? We busted our ass. We worked our ass. So what's going on? It's because the numbers in your head hardly ever match the numbers on paper.
Tell them, baby. Come on now.
That's real shit. And
that's the realest shit y'all gonna ever hear.
It's real, and it feels good. It feels right, but you're missing so much, and there's so many gaps that if you don't quantify it, you'll be fucked. So here's what we did. Went around the office. Hey, Erica, how long does it take you to quality control one uniform? I don't know. Let's do it right now. Vanessa, how long does it take you to send out an invoice? How long does it take you to send out this? How long did it take you to design? And I just went through the whole thing, okay? And I paid them this much per hour, so it's costing me this just for them to touch it. Okay, cool. And I went around the whole fucking company and realized, shit, I'm not charging enough. This motherfucker told me to charge more. But now I got the confidence to. Bro, I can't not charge you this now. I have to. My numbers don't even, I won't even make no money if I don't. Now, not only does it force me to change my money model, what I charge people, and it gave me the confidence in conversations. Man, no. The excellent customer service you love is because I have this staff. So in order for us to continue to give you this excellent customer service, we don't want to be the cheapest company out there. So you'll be surprised. I mean, I don't know if you ever done it when it came to losing weight, where they say, I'm eating all the right stuff. I don't know why I ain't losing no pounds. If you ever had a trainer to say, all right, write down everything you eat all day and the amount of time you sleep at night for 2 weeks and then bring it back to me, you'll be like, oh, okay, shit, yeah, that's why. Like, this is also super important.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. This is when I say running your business, this is a must. This ain't even like, these are not suggestions. If you're not doing this, you are a slave to your business and you probably will never get out. I'm going to tell you 100%. You're that lady at the beginning of the book that said she's working all the time and she's burning herself out and she's falling apart. If you don't understand these principles now, and I don't care if you're not there right now. We're not saying if you're not right there, you suck or you're a simp. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm saying is this is the goal. And if you don't understand this is the goal, then everything else you're doing is just wasting a lot of time. A lot of time. This is how you go from being a little corner store to having stores. This is how you go from being a boutique to having your department store. This is how you go from being a little hardware store to being competition to Home Depot. These things we're saying right now, this is the foundation of how they work every day. If you hire somebody right now and these things are not in place, it's going to be hard to train anybody. Because if you say, these are markers that you have to hit, they'll look at you like, what marker is this you're trying to tell me I have to hit? Based upon what? Next one. Keep going.
Still on quantification. Eventually you and your people will think of your entire business in terms of the numbers.
Somebody, I think a birdie told me not to think in something, but think in numbers. That was you, huh?
Yeah. Everything I think in numbers.
Okay.
That's all I do. I think in numbers.
You'll quantify everything. You'll be able to read your business's health chart by the flow of the numbers. You'll know which numbers are critical and which are not.
Trust me, when you know this, because if you don't know, now mind you, some of you are going to have a hard time with this because when you see the numbers, you're going to personalize losses. And you're going to say, oh, I'm not good enough because my numbers are not strong. Let me say this too. If you get into the quantification game, you can get into the tax and insurance game. You say, what do you mean? Tax and insurance is just an expense. It's a loss. If you don't quantify, they're disrupting your emotional story you're telling yourself of how well you're doing. So when you pay taxes, it feels like somebody just stepped on your story, and that story is a part of you. But when you quantify things, you will see the cost of that number, and that's part of your aim. And so when you set your prices, you're taking that in consideration. So let's say for me to make a profit, I had to charge $60. But if I know I have to pay taxes and I have to pay all these fees, I might have to charge $75 to $80, right? I know that. Or let's just make it even simple. Let's say you're a store and you have a certain theft is going up, and you see your numbers. Well, that means you might have to just add 5 cents to every product. And all of a sudden, you pay for that theft, and you're able to keep that engine moving forward. But the reason many of you guys find yourself pissed off and struggling is because you don't know your numbers. So now you're in this emotional conversation like, that wasn't fair. Oh my God, they stole from me. Oh my God, they did this. They broke this. They didn't do this on time, and I had to pay taxes to the government. And why? I used to be like that. That's me. By the way, I was imitating me, not you. because when I wasn't quantifying, that's why I had to learn how to quantify, because I realized, okay, I got to pay how much in taxes? I remember the first time this cat, man, when the government told me, this is for my second year, I had only made, you really said the average black business makes under $27,000 a year, it makes nothing more than $27,000 a year. I think the first year, our second year I did 510 media, I made 13 grand. The government said that they wanted 3. Do you understand? Because I wasn't quantifying anything. I was in this whole story. I'm hustling. I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to make it. Oh, they don't want to see a black man see me blaming, not radical responsibility. But if you take radical responsibility of everything, then you realize, let me build this into my system. And what do I have to do to the point where I can sell the $60 shirt for $85? How do I change the story that make another human being go, that's all it is 85?
Hey, so if we're talking about excellent customer service and you want to think about all these additions you want to add to your business, okay, so all right, now I want to, put the product in a nice box and a nice paper with nice stickers, and that's all dope. But don't get caught emotionally in that without doing the numbers. Add up how much all that's going to cost you, and you got to up your prices. You don't pay for that. Your customer does.
Yeah.
So that the value that they get from the boxes and all the stuff is higher than what they're paying in cash. So it has to equate that. If not, then it's a bust. But you have to understand those numbers for you are hell of important. Or you'll be working, it's worse than a job, because you'll be working, you're busting your ass all year, and at the end it ain't gonna be much to show for it.
Hey, you know what's so funny? So every time you hear about government penalizing businesses, business owners go, you ain't penalize me, you penalize y'all. I'm not gonna take that penalty. I just gonna change my pricing. I'm gonna add penalties, cost, fees. It's so cold, but then they make you feel good about it. Like when you buy Yeezys, right? That's absurd. When you buy Jordans, that's insane. Okay, when you buy Air anything, that's crazy. I just dropped a little bit more, but it's all crazy. But it's all because at the end of the day, I will adjust. GM right now can't get a chip. Go buy a GM car. They got 10,000 markup on almost all cars because the chip is missing. They not taking that penalty. When y'all learn this game, because it's all psychological, when you're thinking about fairness, then you can't do this because you can get caught, you get snagged by fairness. But if you understand business, or if the government says, well, we're going to start taxing businesses in Oakland more money, okay, well, let me do the math on that. Okay, that would only be a 25-cent increase on all products to my customer. All right, so products, and then here's the thing. When we shift the prices, we just repaint some things, change some things, change our greeting, run a cool commercial. Before you know it, you proud to pay that 25 cent extra cent. You don't even see it. You don't even notice it happen. And we timed the price increase so perfectly because we know, based upon quantification, how to make our moves, because we know at what point we have your attention and at what point you just being mindless with us. And we'll make that move.
I feel like you just spit on me. Because this conversation about...
I'm sorry for those at home. I just had to take it. Is it too soon? Too soon? Okay, I'll give it a little time. He needs some more years behind his belt. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because the conversation around taxing businesses and how much of a conversation that is in our politics, when really what we're saying is you're going to raise our cost of anything is going to go up if that's what we do.
Yeah.
So just like the flow through of that, I do feel like you just spit on me. But anyway.
So keep going. You'll quantify. Okay, go ahead. You'll quantify everything. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Go to the next one. Go to the next one.
Yep.
Next one. Okay.
Orchestration.
Now, orchestration. This is the end. But this is where the microphone drops, because these three have to go together. So innovate, quantify. Now let's get to this orchestrate.
Orchestration is the elimination of discretion or choice at the operating level of your business.
Whoa. Whoa. Hold on a second. Say it, because there's somebody who kids were saying, Mama, Mama, and they missed this point. So just try this one more time. Say it again. Or let the train go by, because I don't even want them to blame the train. Like, no, I can't process these ideas because Amtrak be trying to hate on black people. Keep going. Let's do it. Try again.
Now I got R. Kelly songs in my head. In the closet. All I keep hearing. Okay. Orchestration is the elimination of discretion or choice at the operating level of your business.
Keep going.
If you're doing everything differently each time you do it, if everyone in your company is doing it by their own discretion, their own choice, rather than creating order, you're creating chaos.
Okay. Let me help you all out real quick. Let's say this happened. Fight Team Media is fixing this right now. Well, this is something that we're fixing right now. So we had this huge surge of growth. We went from 500,000 to 1 million, like that, right? And now we're back into getting to another rhythm. But when we went to that surge of growth, we had to bring people in quickly. Yo, Court, you good at designs? Can you come and help us out real quick? Yo, Tone, can you bring some of that motherfucking bass to the table? We need some people to talk to our customers, right? So all of a sudden, Court's doing things he thinks is good. Shabisha's doing things she thinks is good. Tone's thinking things, Charlize is doing things she thinks is good. Now, mind you, they all practicing good customer service, but that ain't 510 Media's way. And guess what? Because they all are introducing their own ideas, it's nothing but inconsistency. Although everybody means good, although everybody's well-trained, although everybody means the best and loves 510 Media, everybody is doing something different. Now, to the customer, it's bad service. Human beings hate uncertainty. I gave you a game earlier. Human beings hate uncertainty. If everything always changes, you are constantly hitting them in the chest with uncertainty. Now you're losing your position. So now, everything you do has to be down to rigid, strict rules. Can I share a hood story? Can I just go hood for a minute? Fuck it.
Yeah, you know.
Y'all ever been like say, I'm gonna give us, like say you went to a McDonald's or Federal Express in like say Lafayette or motherfucking Walnut Creek or something, and their uniforms be on tack. Ta-dat, tat, zip, ah. Colors be cool, hairstyles, pull the hair ponytail back, yap. Mustache, beard, tap. Give them service. Right? Then you get close to home. Fuck it, I ain't going to Walnut Creek. I'm about to hit this one over here on Hagenberger. Mama come out with them slippers on, slip, slides. Yeah, what you here for?
Ripper slippers.
What you here for? And she got her jewelry on. She done roll the sleeves up and put a little flavor on it. She got her hat like this. How can I help you, baby? But let me explain to you what that did to you psychologically. Let's say in both of those situations, your package is late to a very important customer. The one that's professional, you're going to say, hey, it must be in the system. Some shit might be going on. Give it another day. The one in the hood, you're going to say, I know I should have went to the motherfuckers. I should have knew that shit was going to go crazy. Even though they provided the same level of service. Why? Because your perception was controlled by the consistency. But because one took discretion and one was not allowed to take discretion, you rated one higher level of professionalism. You guys see where I'm going with this? If you're competing in this motherfucking game, how are you inconsistent? You don't leave room for, I interpreted, I thought it should be this. Because in the end, I got to deliver the same consistent, look, think about your favorite place to go eat. Do you want your favorite dish to taste different every time you eat it because they said a different cook was in the fucking kitchen?
Man, no.
You expect the same experience over and over. And here's the thing, social justice is going to get mad at me. Oh, but what is she just black and she's trying to show our historical culture? Hey, that's cool when you get the fuck off. But while you working here, This is how we running this shit. If we decide to wear all dashikis, then guess what? Your white ass gotta put on dashiki. I'm keeping it 100 because based on the customer we're trying to serve, that is the best idea and alignment. But if you don't get this orchestration down to a science, you may look, orchestration is gonna make you feel good about your business. You'll be able to bring somebody in, a new client, sit where they can see your staff working, and the why is so clear that the person who's about to do business with you like, wow, this is a professional ass business. Orchestration makes you feel good. Orchestration makes you feel like you're doing business. When that shit's not orchestrated, you're literally at the expense of moods, attitudes, perception, interpretations, educational background, cultural differences. Like I read some stuff on diversity. It said inclusion, because all these words are different. We mix them up all the time, and they shouldn't be mixed. It fucks it up. Because a lot of times when you practice diversity, you create segregation. But in inclusion has to be designed. It just can't be. You can say, oh, I'm an inclusive company. You have to continuously design it because people are constantly changing, and the challenges are always changing. As well as you can't submit to everything that people just give you a suggestion. That's your new idea of your business. But if you try and design a business and orchestrate everything, inclusion has to be orchestrated. But in addition to inclusion has to be orchestrated, when you have a real structure, it is the best thing to enhance inclusion. Because we have a system, everybody's plugging in this is how it works. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is our why. And this is how I have to show up. And then for me to be the best employee, I have to hit this mark here. And here's the thing, you can tell when your business is falling apart when orchestration starts to show some cracks.
Mm. Hey, real talk. I had a staff meeting today. 3 mistakes in a week. Oh, my team don't really do that. We're losing our high level of orchestration, and by each individual person. What happened to you? Oh, you made one, you. Okay, let's talk. Instead of smashing, let's talk. What's going on? What happened? Okay, what's deeper than that? Man, we work to the max. We're pretty smashed busy-wise. So then they're throwing my words at me. They're saying, and when you're stressed and busy, your IQ drops because I'm like, okay, now you're throwing the scarcity shit at me, but it's true. It's like, yeah, you're right. It's like, yeah, so, we're busy. So, of course, the IQ drops, and then, you get taxed bandwidth-wise, and then you start making mistakes. I'm like, yep, that's true. So it's like, okay, let's not shy away from the fact that we need to clean up our processes and make sure that our processes are tighter and use all those mistakes as an opportunity to buffer and make better processes. But let's get you some help. Let's look for some. It's time to start hiring. Let's get over this COVID shit. Let's start expanding back out again. But the times when your team starts making errors or you start making errors, and it bleeds off into the customers. If you haven't built up enough of a reputation of high excellence, excellent customer service, consistency, then you rarely get second chances, especially if that was a first-time occurrence. What the fuck is going on? I knew this shit was going to happen. Look, at a black-owned company. That's why it's so important for you to build consistency. Think of your business as you're creating an element in this world. So you think of an element like the sun. You don't ever have to worry about it not coming out, or it not being on time, or it being late, or it not shining, or you pretty much can bank on the shit. So you as an organization, you have to build your company with that same level of excellence.
Nice.
You're the sun for some people. You're a new element, and if you get that fucking shit twisted, then you're gonna you're gonna lose. They're gonna freeze out. It's over.
Like that shit. Next, that was tight. That was nice. Next.
As Theodore Levitt says in his stunning book, Marketing for Business Growth, discretion is the enemy of order, standardization, and quality.
Stop real quick. Discretion means that each person in your team is taking their own discretion of what they want to do. Is the enemy of order, standardization, meaning that what customers come to expect, and quality. Quality goes up and down when you don't manage orchestration. Keep going.
By every disciple of orchestration, I'm referring to anyone who has ever seriously decided to produce a consistent, predictable result in the world of business, no matter what business they are in.
The next one.
If you haven't orchestrated it, you don't own it.
Okay, stop. Don't stop. If you haven't orchestrated it, you don't own it. Let me say this again. If you haven't okay, you hired 20 employees, they just working and they're producing a product because you told them this is what we want to produce. You don't own that production. That production is a flaw. It's a lucky. You're not running your business right now. You are literally gambling, and you're winning by luck. Orchestration. Bill Belichick is the example of orchestration. That he didn't leave his success up to a great player. Tom Brady said all the time, I ain't the best at a lot of shit. But there was a system I was taught that allowed me to excel at a certain level of a high level of success.
Yes.
You do not own it unless your own body. Oh, this is, hey, look, because some of y'all be like, no, that's such, all of us don't have businesses yet, so we can't all be that. You can't all be you, right? You understand me? Anyway, I kind of went too far. Anyway, point is this. so, I got lost in my own juice, baby. Sometimes that happens. Anyway, okay, get back to y'all. Whew, come back. I went to hug on my hood side of my family for a few days. It was real, man. I missed those Domino's days. Anyway, but let me keep it like this. If you orchestrated your body, you would orchestrate the shape of it. That's going back to patterns, and orchestration is the same thing. If you orchestrate your mind, you become intelligent. But if you don't orchestrate it, you don't own your mind or your body. Hey, let's go with Pastor Chris and you. If you ain't orchestrating your spirit, you ain't in a line. You don't even own your mind, body, or spirit. This orchestration thing is how do you consistently show up? See, black folks, we got a degree through orchestration, but then live the rest of our life not orchestrating. So our standards are compromised, our quality is compromised, our us is compromised. So when you understand the power of orchestration, you understand the importance of, look, this is a hidden argument between me and my wife all the time. Babe, you fuck with my patterns. Back the fuck up off my pattern. She's fortunate enough to understand me to translate that that's extremely important. Not, babe, you use the company truck, that's not cool. That's low importance. Babe, that was $20 on my counter. What you spend that, or $100 on my counter? What you spend that for? That's low. That's not even. That might even get a conversation. But patterns is my orchestration. And if I lose my patterns, I don't exist.
Everything.
I don't own me. You got a ghost walking in your house who may not be worth shit when it's all said and done. I might even die on you because I wasn't managing my orchestration. This is how serious orchestration is to your business.
Hey, let's get cold. Shows you, if you put a microscope on anything, what do you see? You see a wave, right? A frequency, right? Frequency. Everything. You put a microscope on anything, and you get deep enough, it'll eventually have a frequency. You know what a frequency is? It's a rhythm. It's a pattern. Everything is pattern. So the reason why this is a cup is because it has a pattern of a cup, not because it's a fucking cup. So you want to talk about a millionaire. Reason why a person is a millionaire, not because they're a millionaire, is because they have a pattern, a rhythm of a millionaire. And over a course of time, that pattern is what creates the millions. So that's why it's so cold when he says, hey, you fucking up my pattern. Because you got to guard your pattern with your life, because you will change into something else if you change your pattern. So right now,
Oh, God, that's so real.
he's the pattern of a multimillionaire. What? You better not touch that. Don't fuck that up. Whatever time you waking up, unless you intentionally tweaking it, don't fuck with my pattern. I am the exact same way. I'll break up with your ass over you fucking with my pattern. We will stop being friends. You keep saying that same slick shit to me, that's affecting my pattern, I'm not gonna talk to you no more because I guard it that much. Fuck no, hell, I worked hella hard to get to this, get this rhythm. A lot of us think that the money is first. It's the pattern that's first.
Like, I mean, y'all have no like. You ever want to predict somebody's fall? You see it in the change of their patterns. You'll be like, they're falling. They're about to fall. And when they fall, you're not surprised. Because you're like, oh, I see the pattern. When somebody lies to you, you can just look at their pattern and like, oh, they lied. I don't need to be like, are they lying? Like, your pattern doesn't support what the fuck you just said to me. This is how the ego, this is how you can see beyond the ego. A lot of times people present their ego, they present their facade to you, or that's another word for that. It's a word for the mask you wear.
Persona?
Huh?
Persona?
Persona. They present their persona to you, right? And so in your mind, you're like, oh shit, this person is this person. I will play along with you in the midst of that conversation, but if your role is important to me, I'm going directly to investigating your patterns. And if your patterns are done, I will listen to like you just talk about your week and your month and your day, how you moved about, what you did. And you can literally tell me based upon the commitment to things you said, what you had enough time to commit to, and I will know if you're lying to me or if you're telling me the truth.
Amen, brother.
This is how you could, this literally changes what you hear with your ears. Somebody like, I'm doing this. You're going, where do you have time for that? Where's the patterns to support that? Something you're weak in. So let me figure out what that is now. And as you continue to talk, you will literally tell me what the pattern does not support.
Hey, this shit is so exciting to talk about because it's real shit. Now, here's a deal. Here's a deal too, is that when like us as black folks or us as people of color, we have the rhythms that we were brought up with. That's what makes life so dope and amazing, because we have patterns and rhythms that we were raised with, that in our natural self, untampered, we got a certain rhythm. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe you're a killer. Maybe you just lazy as fuck. Maybe you don't give a fuck. Whatever that pattern is, you from the hood, your temper is this, you 0 to 100, any of those things. What's dope about life is that we get to choose a different outcome by changing the pattern. It just takes some serious consistency. Now, I'll know I've been running these same kind of patterns for almost 20 years. But guess what? If I go 1 week without my pattern, if I just if I go 1 week, I'm a different human. I can see the descend of my vibration. I'm starting to flash. I'm starting to be irritable. I'm starting to be a little more negative. I'm starting to be a little more addictive in my personality. Yep. I'm starting to do all these little shit, just little versions of it, because
me too.
My patterns is starting to unravel my good patterns, and then something will happen. I either flash hella hard, or I'll be in this negative mood, and I'm like, all right. What time is it? 12 o'clock? All right, I'm going to go back home, 12 p.m. I'm going to cancel my meetings, go back home, and I'm going to start like this is 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to meditate. And I'm going to read my book, and then I'm going to start anew to get my pattern back generated, because it don't matter what I got to do. I'm going to fuck it up. So I might as well get back starting my pattern.
By the way, that's one of the reasons we hate that 30-day. Remember told me we used to tell you we hated that 30-day thing where I'm going to do my 30-day challenge? We hated that. You know why? Because it had a beginning and an end. And pattern is about slowly revving up, because pattern is something you have to rev into. You don't just tomorrow say, I have a new pattern. You literally have to like go through a process to get your pattern going, and then mentally go through a process of changing your mindset to anchor that pattern in, and know that that pattern is always fragile. Like it's not super fragile, like you blowing it, right? But like for example, you know when you do the diet, right? You can literally diet so long you start to like your diet food. But you can go on one vacation and literally be stuck in that pattern for about 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 a year, 6 months to a year, right? And all of a sudden you don't pick up the weight. You're like, fuck, I gotta get back to my old pattern, right? And so at the end of the day, patterns are something that you have to constantly be aware and actively engaging at all times, not intensity of the moments. Because you will have black swans or flares where something just kind of goes off for a second, right? But your stability is your pattern. Matter of fact, I would even argue, I know a lot of my friends who suffer from depression, the way they're managing their life and their depression is not winning is because their pattern is their fight against their depression.
And so that's my question. When you say guard your patterns, what I'm taking from what you just said is like depression can also be a rhythm. It can also be a pattern.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Absolutely.
And so when you look, like you had us do the exercise about like look on social media where are people creating stories or myths, like what's going on out there in social media. One of the things that's really common is protect your peace, don't let nobody do this, don't let nobody do that. And what's the difference between something like that and what you're talking about?
Well, to protect your peace is rallying around this simple idea, which is kind of a distortion.
Yes.
And on top of it, most people who are articulated don't really understand the depth of that comment. There is a depth of, like for example, I do maintain a higher level of peace. That goes back to the Solid Guru piece we just listened to, because I give titles to things. I just see things as situations, and so because I see the situations, my surge of getting super angry or super happy is under control. I get happy when I'm playing. I play all the time. Like if you around, you know me, I'm goofy as I want to be, but that's also just as necessary to be successful across the board, family, business, and parenting and all, right? But I have this way of looking at things that stops me from searching for the extreme. What they're missing is patterns, which most people say that. Most people don't even know what the fuck it is. Because if most people knew what the fuck it is, we would be a lot more predictable in our processes. Like, if you meet a doctor, they're in this very rigid pattern because of the level of the game they play in. But you meet most people who want to be entrepreneurs, they got almost invisible patterns. It's so soft and so all over the place and so sporadic and so like if you ever play with my little daughter, she's going on 3 in next month, and you take her to a park, she doesn't know what she wants, slide, swing, she just jumps from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, and she's having the best time of her life, right? But that's how most people move in their own personal life. They're just squirrel, and their distraction level and their attention span and their commitment levels and their engagement level and the depth of the engagement and then all the stories you psychologically tell yourself, they don't have a consistent pattern. Now, they will have a consistent desire and call it a pattern, but it's not a pattern, right? So even when they say protect that pattern, you first have to be so aware of what you're protecting and the value of it and the outcome and the process. And then also, too, protecting that pattern doesn't make it hard, rigid, and static. It's still dynamic and flexible, and it's always being tweaked and adjusted. So the pattern I had, say, last year is different than the pattern I had this year. COVID created some patterns that I had to get rid of. I'm getting rid of now. There's patterns I had 5 years ago that will never come back again. There's some, like patterns are always being adjusted based upon the new challenges. So if I was just trying to be a photographer, my patterns were totally different then. Right? Now I just say, okay, I want to be a business owner. That means that all those patterns have to be divorced because I want to go to the next level, and those patterns don't transfer from here to there. Now, some things still grow, which is like my curiosity, my learning, but then there's other patterns I have to go because I have higher levels of responsibility. So when somebody's on social media talking about protect your peace and all that stuff, that's more like a defensive victimization, us against you. None of that stuff is what I'm implying. My commitment to and my promise to anybody in this room can only be delivered through my practice. My commitment to Nzinga, my commitment to Diallo, my commitment to Shakira, my commitment to my godchildren, Shakina, commitment to you, commitment to Tone Vic, commitment to my cousin brother Kevin, right? Commitment to Marquita, the only person that makes me jelly when I ask her. I'm just saying that's what I think. Anyway, what is this? But commitment to all these individuals, right? It only can exist if I have structure and protect my patterns. If my patterns go away, I'm like a crackhead. I will literally, when you see me, you don't know what to expect from me. And it may be I have a problem today, maybe I'm nice tomorrow, maybe I take from you the next day, and maybe I give you the day after that. Because why? I don't have control of my life. So you're around a wild animal. What makes me a human that can say, I mean what I say what I mean, is because I protect those patterns that allow me to show up like that. Next one. Or you can just finish that paragraph off.
And if you don't own it, you can't depend on it.
Oh, didn't I just say that? Well, hey man.
And if
Okay, keep going.
and if you can't depend on it, you haven't got a franchise.
That means you don't have no structure of business. Go ahead.
And without a franchise, no business can hope to succeed.
Keep going.
The need for orchestration is based on the absolutely quantifiable certainty that people will do one thing predictably, be unpredictable. But for your business to be predictable, your people must be. Then what? Unless your customer gets everything he wants every single time, he'll go someplace else to get it.
Hey,
No, read that.
hey,
That shit's. Go ahead. Just before you say that, read that paragraph one more time. That shit's so much fun. Because this is the reality. This is the hard. See, look, when you have a job, this don't apply to you.
That's what I was about to say.
I'm sorry.
Life ain't fucking fair. Because some of us may not be saying it, but that may be the first thing that jumps out our gut. But that's not fair. Life is not fucking fair. So you either winning, you growing, or you not. So if you don't do it, you only got one option. You're gonna lose your customer to somebody else.
And he said, look, unless your customer gets everything, he didn't say unless your customer get a couple things they want. Let's say the customer come through and you looking kind of fly that day. Let's say the customer come through and they get that, you get the chance to like shoot the shit with you. They said, unless your customer gets everything it wants, every single time every single time he shows up, he'll go someplace else to get it.
Hey, in our team, on one side of our business, we have unlimited revisions, meaning on the team uniform side, you can go back and forth with our guy as much as you want until you're happy. That costs money. It costs me money. However, I ensure that customer's happy. I ensure, and they trust me. Now, am I paying for it? No, they paying for it. Because on average, I know exactly how long it takes my designers to design something. So to the customer, he thinks in his mind, he has forever. So that the idea of forever, that utility is just through the roof in his mind. But in reality, it only goes to two or three layers, 3 max. So, but just for him to have the option to is amazing for them. Like, so those things are a separation because there's other companies like, no, this is what you get. All right, fuck, I'll do it a little bit. No, come on. No, we got you till you. I want you to have the biggest smile on your face. And so if you're not doing it, somebody else is, and there's no fairness.
And then to co-parts, many of you guys have been through this where you went somewhere, you went to a website, and at one time it just pissed you off. You're like, I'm never going back. Right? And you find another website like Amazon where every time you buy it, it always the same response. You're like, this is all I want. This is all I ever asked for. And sometimes you even pay more just to have that consistent ass experience. Right? And so my argument here is that somehow our brain makes that separation when we become a business owner because our ego says, I'm doing good enough. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing better than other black people. This is I. And what happens, you don't realize that if you don't serve them, now this is marketing here. This is a psychology, manipulating the psychology of the customer touch point. Go to the next one, because I don't want to keep this psychology shit. This is psychology now. This is shit you've been learning in class. And some of y'all been like, oh, that shit was deep. No, how you told me about my spirit. No, I was telling you about your spirit so you could learn how you teach you how to build some shit, not because I'm your counselor. Your counselor is down the street. Like, let's go.
Orchestration is the glue that holds you fast to your customers' perceptions.
Uh-oh. It's the glue that holds you fast. Wow. That means you don't get your customer perception. A lot of times, it's hard for the human brain to perceive what a customer perceives. Mm-hmm. But orchestration is the way that you're connecting to their perception. Keep going.
Orchestration is the certainty that is absent from every other human experience.
Okay, hold on a second. Do we use the word certainty? You hear that word certainty? Mm-hmm. Pay attention to this. This is game beyond game. Read that again.
Orchestration is the certainty that is absent from every other human experience. It is the order and the logic behind the human craving for reason.
Keep going. Come on.
Orchestration is as simple as doing what you do, saying what you say, looking like you look, being how and who you are for as long as it works, for as long as it produces the results you want. And when it doesn't work any longer, change it.
What else to say? I mean,
Drop the fucking mic.
That in itself says everything right there. Like once you get, and I bet you y'all listen to the audiobook and miss this whole point. And this point is so much fire. This is your ability to play with your customer's mind. You're tapping into their loyalty, their feelings. And as you play with this now you're the puppet master. This is how you become orchestration is how you become the puppet master.
This is Nordstrom.
Yes, it's Nordstrom, 100%.
This is you. This is you guys. This is also you guys in your business. Mm-hmm. This is your commitment when you go, after this class and you laying in your bed and you're sleeping and you praying, whatever you do before you go to bed. This is your new commitment to yourself and your business. That's what this is. Like, do not wake up in the morning talking about that was a good fucking class and that was dope. No, you're gonna tattoo this shit somewhere or paint it on your wall somewhere or put it in as a part of your mission statement in your business and do this shit. I'm telling you, like, I don't know what, like, you can't, you know what's dope about the small paragraph? It has so much power in it, but it's also devoid of so much ego. It's devoid of so much narcissism, devoid of so much know-it-all-ism. It's saying, we're going to have the system set up and we're going to be tight and perfect with it as long as it works. And if it doesn't work, we change it to something that works. That means you can't have ego to do that. And you have to be super observant to the customer watching, like, is it okay? Oh no, customer's not happy right now. Let's switch up. Like, if you do not have this, like, this is now embedded in your soul. So tomorrow you should move different.
Next one.
Amen, brother.
The business development process is not static. It's not something you do and then are done with. Once you've innovated, quantified, and orchestrated something in your business, you must continue to innovate, quantify, and orchestrate it.
You consider the last paragraph. Just read that one more time. We'll go to the next one because that says everything we're going to say. Say it again.
Once you've innovated, quantified, and orchestrated something in your business, you must continue to innovate, quantify, and orchestrate it.
Next. If you didn't get that point, that was fire. Go.
The business development process is that which enables you to preempt the world's changes. It hopefully precedes them, anticipates them, and if not, at least is infinitely flexible in relationship to them. In short, innovation, quantification, and orchestration are the backbone of every extraordinary business.
So let me say this real quick. Here's something to keep in mind. So when you do using the tool of innovate, quantify, and orchestrate, there's something you need to be aware of. You're always changing, your employee's always changing, and the world's always changing. If you at some point think you can ever be the same, you become outdated overnight. If you're not, see, y'all think this is the shit had me fucked. This is shit deep down in my soul. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna just testify for a second. Okay, Minister. This the shit that be having me fucked up in my head. When I have to hear these fucking conversations, excuse me, those who are hurt your fucking feelings, but today I'm going back to old Nana. Fuck your feelings. This is shit that be having me fucked up. When people come to me, be like, Nana, it's so hard. All this changing stuff, it's just so much work. Oh my God. You know what actually be having me fucked up? Because you should always be changing. Because if you don't change, life is already changing you. So either you get washed down the river or you get in your boat and you navigate down the river. But anyway it goes, you are making a false complaint. If you sit on your couch every day, pain is still part of the equation. Every day, life is changing. Ask them. I had an uncle, motherfucker sat on the couch. Now, I love my uncle, died early from heroin. This makes my case. I love Uncle Junior. Uncle Junior is my favorite uncle. He was an uncle that everybody wanted to hang around because somehow his spirit just made you feel good. But Uncle Junior was always in the couch, and every time the chair would wear out, he'd just get a new recliner. We're talking about from Tone age. No, younger than Tone, maybe 10 years younger than Tone. He was always on that couch. And the world was changing around, and he was trying to stay the same. And guess what? He never went nowhere. And he died. And I mean, literally, just like, and when I talk to my family today, most people don't even remember he existed in the family. When I call out, hey, name your favorite uncles. People forget. I say Uncle Junior. They're like, oh shit, there was an Uncle Junior. He was on the same couch. It's like, how could you not see him? But because he never changed, he meant nothing. Nothing. People, when you have a job, that job has to change. For those of you who got jobs, let me talk to y'all for a second. Sit around for a minute, because I know some of y'all probably start playing video games. We talk about entrepreneurship. For those of you who have jobs, that department will never stay the same. The employees will never stay the same. So that means you can't stay the same. Now, for the black folks who are listening who don't have a motherfucking job, you gentrification motherfuckers. People will never stay the same. If you ain't working that neighborhood, you don't keep that neighborhood. If you're not orchestrating that neighborhood, that's not your motherfucking neighborhood. This is that hardcore shit that, social justice don't want me to talk to you like that. They want me to tell you about the participation ribbon and how you're somebody. But I want to tell y'all, if you ain't orchestrating, you don't own that. You don't own yourself. You are nobody.
Hey, and a lot of times we get caught up in one of these, right? What some people do is the innovation is a sexy part of it. I could talk about it. It sounds hella sexy. It's big. I can paint the picture in your mind. We can almost run through it in our minds. And there's no pain. There's no loss. There's no struggle. There's no accountability, none of that shit. So we'll get stuck in the innovation part, just get stuck there, and we'll just run that cycle of innovation, literally sitting on the couch or philosophizing with each other because we do not want to start quantifying. Because now shit hurts. It's painful. And we definitely don't want to orchestrate because the vision you have in your head and the actuality of the execution of what you execute will make you depressed. Because there's no experience there. There's no, it's like watching hoop at a high level, watching the NBA, and be like, I could do, look at it. Man, coach is tripping. Why you run that play? Man, he's soft. You coaching from the sidelines, talking about, well, if I was in there and actually playing against a pro, if you ever played against a pro, like an NBA cat, in my mind, I knew I could hoop. I could hang with the best of them. Bruh, I ran in a pro run before. They run like 10 miles faster than me, just off top. 10 miles like, damn, they look slow on TV. Nothing, there's no misses. I was a great rebounder. I got 0 rebounds because nobody was missing. It's a whole different ball game when it's time to orchestrate. So, we stuck at step one, most of us.
Well, as a matter of fact, I would say we're not even. Remember say innovation is not creativity because creativity is thinking about something. Innovation is doing something. I think most of us stuck at creativity.
That's right.
We haven't started
That's
innovating.
right.
Innovating is you go to somebody's house, they got hella shit going on, and they spend hella money, got hella shit done, but they somehow can't get it executed or get it rolling in the industry. That's innovators, right?
yeah.
That means like you always buying new shit, you always working on some shit, you studying all night, you got vision boards and you execute, I'm gonna change all this shit, but you don't really get shit going. That's an innovator. Creatives is, hey man, you know what I'm thinking about doing? No, seriously. No, you know what I'm doing? I'm gonna start this new company, right? This shit's so exciting. I'm telling you, dog, I'm gonna blow this motherfucker up. Matter of fact, you know what I think? I'm gonna change Cosmo when I blow my shit up. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, let me tell you what I'm gonna do. What? If you don't shut the fuck up? Like, do you understand you are creating noise? You're like that fly goes, zzz, zzz. God damn, shut up, shit. So now y'all know. So next year when y'all see the new students come in and y'all see me just like, see my eyes go like this, and you see me go to the bathroom, that's what the fuck I'm doing. Now y'all know. Those of y'all who come visit later on, like through the year, and you realize y'all talking, and I'll just start, oh shit, my daughter calling me, and y'all be like, where's she calling you from? Like, I can hear her at the house. No, you just got played. Why? Because your ego is talking to me. You're not talking to me yet. When you humble yourself and become a little bit more real, I will hear you like a dog whistle, and I will stop and run back to you. But at some point, the discipline I'm in, I can't feed that shit. If I fed that shit, you know, my mentor taught me, this is what goes back to my mentorship. My mentor taught me, if you subsidize failure, you'll never move the needle. If I help the lowest all the time, now mind you, in life you have to have a dumbbell. You have to support you got to support the bottom system, and you have to also support the top system. And that's how you have healthy society. It's called dumbbell effect. What I'm saying is that, but if I'm always talking to the most depressed person, I'm always spending all the time with the person who's, Nana, can I talk to you some more? Can I talk to you some more? Can I talk to you? But you ain't doing shit, I'm not talking to Court, who's performing. See, if I talk to Court, I'm going to benefit, he going to benefit, we going to run. But if I'm talking to somebody who's philosophizing all the time, ain't doing shit, matter of fact, I'm deteriorating. One of the reasons I want to teach this class, you know, I had to process something last night. I said, you know, sometimes it gets on my nerves because I feel like sometimes people just not even listening. And I realized, you know what? No, fuck that, Nana. Teaching this class made me doper. So at the end of the day, shit, I'm here whether y'all like it or not because this is a pattern that pays off to me. It enhances my pattern. I've always studied, but this takes it to another level. So I'm here. Giving to y'all is giving to myself. But what I won't do is take the most depressed of you who are the most egotistic or the most narcissistic. And mind you, I'm working with you. I'm helping you out. That's why this class is here. I'm not abandoning you. But you don't get to isolate me.
Hey, this basketball player, he was freshman player of the year in college a couple of years ago. He's going pro. He's going to be in the league. But I had the privilege of coaching him one year when he was about 6th grade. And this kid's mentality was so like this already. We go play in this tournament, and they blow the team out. They blow the team out by like 30. And all the rest of his team is super juiced, and he's sitting there hella mad. Don't say nothing. Play next game, blow the team out again. And I'm sitting on the bench next to him because he comes and sits down because he already ran the numbers up. And he was like, hey, coach, if we keep playing these teams, weak-ass teams, I don't want to play. I said, you going to play what I tell you to play. Because you 11. How you going to tell me what? And you know what he said? No, I'm not. Because in his mind, I want to play against the best. I want to sharpen my skills. I'm getting weaker doing this shit. I'm not excited about these wins at 11.
That's crazy.
At
That's
11.
crazy. That's beautiful and crazy.
West Oakland kid. And that mentality drove him because, look, I want to be an orchestrator. Like, I want to use, I don't want one or two. I want to take it. I want to exactly where I am in the first stage. I want to see that through to the last stage.
Now, can I get about 10 or 15 minutes to just do a little bit of ego? I want you, because we skip the questions. I want you to hit that question slide. Keep going. Let's go right. I just want to hit a couple of slides, a few slides. Because this one here, I know some tragic stories that's tied to this. Now we're gonna switch. Now those of y'all, we about to switch hats. We're in an eagle hat. So now that we're in an eagle hat, let's do this real quick. Let's jump into this one. Go ahead, number 18, slide number 18, go ahead.
More than purpose, we also need realism. Where do we start? What do we do first? What do we do right now? How are we sure that what we're doing is moving us forward? What are we benchmarking ourselves against?
Oh, now are we in the Eagles anyway? Or we back in the last book? Did we switch yet?
We switch.
But this doesn't sound like the same thing, right? So like you're saying, look, more than purpose, it's the same thing. It's in the same book. I want y'all to see how Eagle of the Enemy and the E-Myth is the same fucking book. So he's saying, more than like, what is your purpose? We talked about what is your purpose over passion. This isn't passion space. We're going to jump on this passion. I'm going to move to the passion as fast as I can because I want to get to the canvas if we can. You can tap on a couple of canvas. But what he's saying is that you got to have a purpose, but more than a purpose, you need to be realistic, right? And you need to know where are you going to start? What's the base? Like chunk down to what do you do first today? What are you going to do tomorrow? What's your patterns, right? How sure that you? It says, how are we sure that what we are doing is moving us forward? Quantification. What's our benchmark? Quantification. Ourselves against. What do we benchmark ourselves against? You see how this is the same thing? How your ego is the enemy of everything we just taught. I want y'all to see how your brain will literally get into, this is my purpose. I know what my purpose is. Okay, so how are you innovating? How are you quantifying? And how are you orchestrating? Like literally, I want y'all to start to learn to listen and see it when you walk around society and watch it fuck you up. You realize, oh, everybody's just talking. Ain't nobody thought about no innovation, no quantification, and no orchestration. Keep going. I want y'all to see how it's the same fucking book. It's just so cold because we've been teaching it. We've been trying to backdoor you in. And then when I found this book that said, okay, it completes the picture, this is a great book. But I think people listen to it and it's like, oh, I like the E-Myth. It can't because what hit you was that sad emotional story about the woman who was bursting her ass when she thought she was running a business, but she didn't read nothing else. Nothing else. Not nothing else. Nothing else. Roll. Let's go.
Great passions are maladies without hope.
Ooh.
Jeez. As that person once said,
Oh, as goeth one said.
goeth,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
goeth,
Go ahead. Yeah.
as Goethe once said,
yeah.
which is why a deliberate, purposeful person operates on a different level beyond the sway or the sickness.
Keep going.
They hire professionals and use them. They ask questions. They ask what could go wrong. They ask for examples. They plan for contingencies. Then they are off to the races. Usually, they get started with small steps, complete them, and look for feedback on how the next step can be better.
Ooh.
They lock in gains and then get better as they go, often leveraging those gains to grow exponentially rather than arithmetically.
So this is actually how you get into quantification. They just literally tell you how this is the game of quantification right here, which is you're hiring these professionals. So first of all, before you hire a professional, you have to have orchestration. Like, if you don't have orchestration, what you going to hire them to do? Like, you got to know, like, you got to be very clear. You got to be very clear on your innovation. This is how we do it here. It's like, when you hire a new employee, you go, this is how we flip burgers here, right? But in that process, it says, it shows how you have to be curious. Because in order for you to be the captain of that ship, you will betray your whole team if you're not in a space of curiosity. And you got to be open to changing and lowering your ego and innovating and discovering and all, because otherwise your ego will cause you to betray hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Yo, how many people who have business ideas came up to you and be like, yo, check this out. I got this business idea and I'm going to do it small at the beginning. Bruh. It's going to be small, tiny. I'm gonna make hella mistakes at the beginning. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm gonna learn from each one though, and just slowly I'm gonna tweak my model and just grow organically.
Nobody says that.
No, but that because we have such this perfection mindset to where we think we gonna do shit big and it's gonna be perfect, not realizing that the mistakes and the fumbling and the uncertainties are what is gonna allow you to grow your business. So if you're not laughing at those or comfortable around those, I can always tell somebody who ain't really with the shit because they get so rattled by mistakes, so rattled by something that's not perfect. Oh shit, oh, see, that's what, oh my God, because you ain't been in the fire enough. Because this shit is nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this really is nothing. If you really been swimming in this pool, then you could just backstroke over that type of shit. That is how we grow. But if your humility is at a certain, if your ego is at a certain level, it's hard for you to see.
Next one.
Yeah.
Is an iterative approach less exciting than manifestos?
He just said that.
Manifestos, epiphanies, flying across the country to surprise someone, or sending 4,000 word stream of consciousness emails in the middle of the night? Of course. Is it less glamorous and bold than going all in and maxing out your credit cards because you believe in yourself? Absolutely.
I hate that one.
The same goes for the spreadsheets, the meetings, the trips, the phone calls, software, tools, and internal systems, and every how-to article ever written about them and the routines of famous people. Passion is form over function. Purpose is function, function, function.
That's it. So that's why most of those self-help courses, and you're gonna interview this certain person, the reason they're able to get you is because your ego loves to hear about what did Steve Jobs say. And so then in the end, you'll start trying to mimic Steve Jobs. But your purpose is not, you're doing the work, and your purpose and your alignment is not in alignment, but I want to hear what all these great people are saying. I don't really give a shit what all these great people are saying unless they're trying to give me insight that's clear. But I don't want to hear about, so then I did this, and then I did this. But you know what? I just believed in myself, and I stayed consistent, and I did it. And you're like, oh, that was such an amazing speech, because I did that experiment in this class. I brought somebody in about 3 or 4 years ago, and they gave a speech about, they said nothing. This is before, like 2 years before you got here. They said nothing. And people was like, yo, Donna, that was powerful. I said, wow, these egos are real. That person said nothing. They give you not one tool to change anything.
Hey, it's like when Tone was talking about stealing ideas. And it's no disrespect to Tone, because a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way.
More than you a little bit.
But the funny part is ideas that get stolen are stolen at such a high level. We're not even playing in that atmosphere. We're playing at the beginning space. So a lot of times we should tap in to people, groups, organizations, entrepreneurs who have been at this same space. What's going on now? What's going on at this level? If I'm level B and I'm trying to get to level C, and Nana's at level C, that's a perfect person to tap, because he still has memories of level B. He still has emotions and memories of level B, and strategies. It's close. But if we only read about people who are at level Z and we're at level A, you're tapping into strategies that don't even fucking apply to you. And you'll end up missing hard.
Man. Woo, yeah. Be careful for the Bay Area, folks in the Bay Area that's in this class, and those who love the .com culture. Those are not great business models for startup. Those are horrible business models for startup. A lot of those business models are distorted because you don't know the objective, and you don't see the money, and you don't see the plan. And because you don't know the plan, if you follow a lot of those ideas, that's why a lot of .com people, when they speak, unless you're in .com industry, you can't take that advice. It's bad advice. Let's do 2 more in this call today, because I want to get to some. I just want to get a little bit of canvas. Let's see how fast we can go.
It'd be far better if you were intimidated by what lies ahead, humbled by its magnitude, and determined to see it through regardless. Leave passion for the amateurs.
Just real quick, leave passion for the amateurs. For those of you at home, remember this, leave passion for the amateurs. Let's just know if you ever come to me, I hear a lot of passion, I already know you're an amateur. Those who are investing in you, those who got money to invest in you, you throw so much passion on the table, I already know you're an amateur. So don't think that when you're trying to sell your success of your business to somebody and you show passion, you're validating yourself, you're actually invalidating yourself. Keep going.
Make it about what you feel you must do and say, not what you care about and wish to be. Remember
Hold on a second. That phrase, look, that's how everybody talks to me all the time. The people come in, a lot of my clients, people come in with, when I used to work with a lot of small businesses. I even know entrepreneurs who built big businesses and started a new business, they do the same thing. And they'll say, yeah, this is what I'm planning on being. This is where we're going to go. This is what I plan on doing. And they think that's valuable. And it's like, but what are you doing right now? And their brain will literally not see the next step they have to take or the next 10 steps they got to take. And they wonder why they keep slipping because they're so focused so far down the road, they can't see what's in front of them. And I've seen people get mad because you disrespected the long-term idea, even though today you don't even represent that idea. Keep going.
Remember Talleyrand's epigram for diplomats.
Okay, just go to the next.
Above all, not too much zeal. Then you will do great things. Then you will stop being your old, good-intentioned, but ineffective self.
So the little voice in your head is, aren't I supposed to enjoy the wins? Ain't I supposed to feel the good feelings? Oh, yes, but follow this. Not too much zeal. Don't get too high with the highs. Don't get too low with the lows. There's a sweet spot. No matter what goes on, no matter how many people praise you, you stay in that same sweet spot. No matter how many people talk shit about you or bash you, hate you, you stay right in that sweet spot. In the sum, you're going to feel like, man, like, damn, you ain't even excited. I'm grateful for where I am. I got a lot of shit to do. I'm grateful. And you know what I'm saying? I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to move forward. I don't give a fuck what it is. If you stay in that space, then your brain won't feel like it made it yet. It feels like, okay, we got shit to do. We got work to do. That is something that I've failed at and failed miserably, and something that I've learned to adopt, and it's helped.
And real quick, just say this real quick. When you hang around entrepreneurs who are really performing, watch how they kind of mellow. We usually use that word in the hood, just being mellow. And the reason they mellow is because it's almost an attitude and personality of the experience made us that way. It's not we're not copying our personality, and it's because we're reading something different than everybody else is reading. When everybody's smiling, we're analyzing. Now, mind you, we also believe in play, which I get into in one of our future classes. I'm going to talk about the importance of playing, because sometimes people get too serious, and that actually hurts your teen's creativity. But there is a mellowness about us, and if you ever hang around, like, just go hang out in court one day, or just if you ever get some time with court ever, watch how he's consistently mellow. That mellow is not because he's just hella cool. It's the life he chose created that personality. It's if I didn't have this life, I would be very different. Very, very different. Very different. I know me. Very, very different. But it's like, I love the responsibilities I chose, but those responsibilities has shaped my personality. I just want to hit, okay, this is just 2 more slides, but these are the ones I want to tap into and leave us off with this to think about. Hit it, let's go.
Follow the canvas. Great men have almost always shown themselves as ready to obey as they afterwards proved able to command.
So let me say this real quick. Obeying, okay, those of you who are not major leaders, I've seen this happen in corporate, where somebody comes in out of college, they hot shot, they like the LeBron James to a department, and they come in to lead the department to a new idea, and they end up getting fired. Like, they will literally get fired. Let me say this to you. Master obedience. Hear me when I say this. True. Master obedience, because you're being primed to be the next leader. Master obedience, because when you master obedience and somebody's pouring into you, people will know who to go to when that person decides to move on. No one stays in corporate forever or in that position forever. But if your obedience game, like you talking with the little silly hands, I call silly hands, this is men and women. So I'm not talking about the sexist hands. I'm talking about all the little cackling hands, men and women sitting over the corner talking about, yeah, the company, they ain't gonna do this, they rich people, the leaders, the management don't understand, they don't did it. Get rid of all the little cackling ass hands and master obedience. When you master obedience, you're being primed because no one lives. Remember, we all die, or we move on, or we change. So if you're obedient to this role and you serve to the highest level, after a while, we're going to start serving you, and then we're going to put you in our position to replace us when we leave on. The reason a lot of you guys get passed up, Miss Strong Black Man, Strong Black Woman, the reason a lot of y'all get, because you motherfuckers are protesting down here, being horrible with your obedience. And you don't realize as you were protesting down here, you were not earning the trust and the loyalty and the faithfulness to say, I trust you to take this next responsibility and keep carrying it forward. So perfect obedience, I know slavery is our tension point. I know it's connected to historical, our genes carry the trauma of slavery in them, right? I get that. But the road to our success is going to come through friction. And you're going to have to fight the friction of your resistance to obedience. I promise you, obedience will give you greater rewards than resistance. Especially if that's what you want to do. Now, if you don't want to do that, you just there because you're trying to come up for a second, then come up. But if you're really trying to rise up in something, even amongst your own people, your church, if you don't rise up in your church and you're being passed over, your obedience sucks. Fix your obedience. Hit it, come on, I'm going to keep going. This is so much fire. That's why I want to just get a little bit in your soul because this is all tied together. Hit the next one.
Here's the problem. Like most of us with our internships and entry-level positions, or later on, publishers or bosses or clients, Marshall absolutely hated every minute of it. He seemed to believe that this system somehow made him a slave.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute, that's that word now. Be careful. You might make me start, make me start remembering minstrel music. Keep going.
Aspiring to live like some country squire, like the patrons he serviced, Marshall wanted money and an estate that was all his own. There, he dreamed he could finally produce his works in peace and independence. As a result, his writing often drags with a hatred and bitterness about Rome's upper crust, from which he believed he was cruelly shunted aside.
So this is a new rookie getting into the game. Whenever you start something, you're a rookie. I don't give a fuck if you came out of the best college, MIT, you're the fucking rookie.
Yep.
You're the rookie. Now, when a rookie already has dreams, like they've been watching too many rap videos while they were going through college, and they dream of all those things, you're trying to bypass the system. You don't realize, let me give you some inside game, you're going to create friction and resistance and discomfort, and the people around you, the people who are assigned to help you, will become your enemy.
And if you're a rookie in business and you are behaving because your ego is not your enemy, it's your friend at the time, you behave like you already got shit together, you're a boss. You can't employ a lot of these things because, like, if you want to charge high prices, but you're a rookie, you're gonna get exposed. You're gonna get exposed. The market and you have to grow together. That's why you start small. That's why it says, let's start small. It says like, all right, I'm gonna start to do big things, and then I'm gonna charge. What's the big company charging? They're charging $10,000. I'm gonna charge $9,000. And you are new. You got it. You hardly got anything up under your belt. Now, you're gonna get exposed because now the level of excellence and service that $10,000 company afforded, people are gonna be expecting that from you. And you ain't got no experience doing it. So that will create crazy amount of tension points. So that's why I'm saying you can't come in this game with bitterness or ego or irritation or cackling like a hen and coming up with all these fake cognitive distortions about the people above you. Because if you don't have that service mentality or that obedience mentality, what would tend to happen is you're going to get stuck in this cycle of unfairness and you will never see it.
Last slide. Hit it. James Brown. Dun, 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 dun.
For, for all his impotent rage, what Marshall couldn't see was that it was his unique position as an outsider to society that gave him such fascinating insight into Roman culture, that it survives to this day. Instead of being pained by such a system, what if he'd been able to come to terms with it? What if, gasp, he could have appreciated the opportunities it offered? Nope, it seemed to eat him up inside instead.
Let me say this. So, this one right here is the hidden road out of servitude. This is why, another reason why social justice is the missionary that oppressed Africa. The missionary delivered a lot of good feelings that aligned with what you thought would have been a perfect alignment of how you should feel based upon what's occurring. Instead of being pained by such a system, what if he's able to come to terms with it? What if, gasp, he could have appreciated the opportunities it offered? Nope. It seemed to eat him up instead. I'm going to talk about next week the pain of being right and how much you suffer from the desire to be right. I'm going to teach you next week how to get around the pain of being right. But the desire to be right, the desire to anchor an idea that you believe in, the desire to fight for this one idea is why you can't learn from those above you. If y'all want to do a dope experiment, get a whole bunch of pro-black people, super liberals, Me Too, super Black Lives Matter, fill this room up with them and see how many will come back to next week. None. Now, follow the same people, and if they don't change their mentality, see how much they actually build and maintain. And your mind's gonna be blown the fuck away. Usually when a person's taking that position, they're suffering. And it's often it's a statement of weaknesses. I believe in fighting for black folks, that's why hope exists. Well, I think I've proven it over 6 years. My pattern is saying I'm committed to serving my people. Somebody must be on a train track. However, let me say this. When you get to the point that your way is the only way of thinking, there's no way in the world you can see the mindset of somebody way above you. Let's go train go by. So instead of showing up with curiosity and ask yourself, I wonder why they did that and what angle they seeing things, you're spending time with other fools rationalizing how stupid it is. Like literally when you see people who live out, if you can learn to accept that your truth is not the only truth, now you're on your way to true learning. But when you're convinced your truth, so when I sit down and I think about black people, I want freedom more than anybody I know. It's in my heart. But if you can't understand what the white man is going through with his family and see it and understand it, you can't understand what the white woman is going through in her decision making. You even notice like it's almost like this is the principle of why your assumptions won't grow. See, this is the method. We talked about assumptions last week. This is shrunken assumptions being limited by your ego. When you could learn to turn that, because he's sitting there with assumptions, I should have this, and this is it, and this is wrong, and I assume this is wrong, right? But you hear. Like, okay, I love Africa. And if I was able to rebuild Ghana right now, I probably would go back permanently. I get the medical system together, I get that gas system together, get them roads together, get that white boy out that politics. Outside that, I fucks with them. But right now, I'm in Oakland. I can romanticize myself being in Africa all the fuck I want and be starving while I'm sitting here in Oakland. How do I make the shit work with what I have right now and see the opportunities for me to move my idea forward? Also realizing that the things that exist around me, they only exist because I signed their existence to them. That's going to be tied to my next week's lesson.
Hey, real quick. Understanding the flip side of all circumstances create opportunity. So if you look at your situation, you look at yourself as a black woman, a black man in America under the system, and you see all the negatives only, and you don't have that and to where, okay, so what's good about this situation? What's good about it? I mean, a lot of times if you don't see all the privilege that you have here, you don't couple that with the fucked up shit. But you also don't flip it around and be like, well, shit, I got a lot of privilege. I can fly and move anywhere in the world, and I still stay in the Bay, or I still stay in whatever American city that I live in, or I have the privilege to worship who I want to worship, love who I want to love, man, woman, woman. I have the freedom to do that. LGBTQ, I have that freedom in America. Like there's a lot of freedoms that we do have here. Not saying that it's ultimate or we should be worshiped, but you have to understand both sides, all of the coin, to see where you are. Because if you was partying on July 4th, Independence Day, but you hate the military, like it makes you feel like a hypocrite. You can with that and thinking you can clear up some of that hypocrisy that you have. You hate guns, but you love Independence Day. Well, that's kind of how we got independent, the guns. You know what I'm saying? Like that and thinking, because if you're so bitter on one side, it blinds you from the other side. Open it up and don't be like this cat. Don't be like this cat.
Let me close out with this last point on the way we opened up. What if Marshall listened to Sadhguru and said, yo, for every problem you have here is an opportunity. Now y'all see the difference? Full circle. We out. Have a good night.